everyone, Adelia here from Let's Get Ready Network. This is a new thing that we're trying out here on the channel, a compilation video of all of our Rewatchers Council episodes for the MCU Phase 1. We loved doing these reviews. We love the MCU around here, most of us anyways. And we really hope that you enjoy them. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next Rewatchers Council.
Boom, everybody. You may have recognized that music, but you didn't recognize that logo. What's good? What's happening, everybody? It's your boy, Ferris Blunter. Welcome to a great special edition of the Rewatchers Council, because today we branched out once again. We gave you the Buffy universe. Then we added Angel to it. But now we're going to do a completely different Rewatchers Council. We are going to be rewatching the Marvel Cinematic Universe, starting from the first film, and that is Iron Man 1, starring Tony Stark. But without further ado, I'm not going on this journey alone. This journey will take all of us, because it's a lot of movies.
It is.
A lot of movies.
A lot of movies and the Disney Plus series. We're
Yes.
doing those too.
We're doing those too. But without further ado, let me introduce you.
Oh man, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We're gonna do
Oh shit.
You like some of them. You like some of them. And the voice you heard starting off to my left is Adelia. Adelia, how are you?
I'm good, Ferris. I thought it was really funny that you said this film is starring Tony Stark, because it's starring Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark.
Good point.
But yeah, really looking forward to this. I haven't planned out all the dates, but the last time I checked, we were into 2028 with the end of this rewatch. So we've got content for a while. So I hope everyone likes it.
Yes, but joining us, Adelia, it is the man, the myth, the legend, Big Sexy.
Oh,
Justin
I
Hamilton. Justin,
thought I was going to say Matt Munoz, but
No.
no, I'm doing pretty good. I signed onto this for the movies. I didn't know about the Disney Plus shows.
Well, you don't have to be on every episode, Justin.
Yeah, boy, some of that doo-doo. I'm just playing. It is what it is.
No, you're right. Some of it is. Some of it's not.
Some of it is.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm not looking forward to watching Secret Invasion again.
Yeah. But that's in 2027.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so we're
Are
good.
you assuming I may not be on this earth at that time?
No, I'm just saying, you have time.
Is that an old joke?
No, not an old joke. I'm saying it's a long way away. We're doing a lot of movies first. 2020, you know what I mean? So
I will say this: I thought, I guess I had the timeline out of order here, but I actually thought that the Incredible Hulk was the first MCU movie before they actually started doing what they started doing with Iron Man and stuff. But I was corrected on that. I guess it's the second movie.
It is.
Yes.
It's next week's movie.
Yes, the Incredible Hulk is next. Yes, it is next week's film. You know, so we'll talk about that later on. But joining us, it is patron, friend, Discord savant, none other than LA. Well, actually, no. Yeah, LA's favorite sunshine, Matt Munoz. Matt, how are you?
Pretty good. No, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, you brighten people's day, man. You brighten people's day just like the sun, bro.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So let's go around, guys. 2008, Iron Man. I want to know where everybody was. Dude, where were you? May 2nd, 2008.
It's May 2nd is actually my father's birthday, so I was probably celebrating his birthday somewhere. I didn't see this in the theaters. I didn't see this actually for probably like a couple of years after it came out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was probably celebrating my father's birthday on May 2nd, 2008.
Yeah, nice. Justin, May 2nd, 2008. Where were you, man?
Man, my kid was like 1 year old. Now he's an adult.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Whoa, he was born in 07. Oh, my God.
He was knee deep in doo-doo.
Jesus. I ain't even that old, but that makes me feel old.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Ferris, you're not allowed to feel old.
Oh, sorry.
Not at your age.
Well, tell that to my knee. All right, you tell that to my right knee.
Probably his lower back.
Yeah, my lower back. You know.
I mean, you do carry Werther's in your pocket, so maybe you're
right.
old.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. So Matt, May 2nd. 2008.
Officer, I was at. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I saw this one in theaters when it came out. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I know I didn't see it opening day, but
Justin, I love that you have Werther's
Doesn't
as
just
well.
what flavor is that, man? What flavor is that?
Well, that's the only real flavor, caramel. What are you talking
Okay, all
about?
right, good.
Do they
No,
even make another flavor?
they make no, they make more. They make. I think there's like a coffee one. There's a mocha one. There's ones that are caramel filled. You know, so like yeah, there's ones that are with the apple, the caramel.
Guys,
Sorry, but we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about Iron Man, guys. May 2nd, 2008. Director John Favreau, who also plays Happy Hogan. Writers were Mark Fergus, Hawk Otsby, and Art McCum and Matt Holloway.
Markham.
Mark. Top stars: Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark / Iron Man. Terrence Howard as James Rhodes Rhodey. Jeff Bridges, Obadiah Stane. The budget: 140 million. Just for inflation, 2025, that'd be 207.9 million just for inflation. The box office: we got the original release opening weekend, 98.6 million. Adjusted for inflation, at 146.5 million dollars. Total domestic in '08, 318.6 million. 2025, 476.2 million. And Adelia, what was
473.2.
470.2 million adjusted for inflation? Adelia, can you drop the total worldwide number for me?
This made $585.3 million worldwide, which in today's money, adjusted for inflation, would be $869.5 million.
Yeah, man, it was a big budget. And I just want to go on. We all watched it. Me, Adelia, and Matt watched it together. We loved it. Still, I think it still holds up. I want to go around everybody and tell us our more intricate feelings about the film. Adelia, let's start with you. Your feelings on Iron Man.
I think this is the best version of this type of film that Marvel made. They tend to fall into the formula after this film is a success of this is how you origin your character, especially if it's somebody that has a counterpart evil bad guy that has the
Mm-hmm.
same sort of like powers or tech or whatever. I think this is better than Ant-Man. I think this is better than Shang-Chi. I think this is better than a lot of them. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies to this day. I think it was a great start. There are some aspects about it that I don't like, but that I just know are part of Tony Stark's character. And I'm glad we moved away from those real quick. Because the beginning of this movie, when he's a womanizing, sexist asshole, is a little rough to watch for me. But I'm glad that didn't show up again really in the MCU after this.
Justin.
Um, with what I was gonna say something about like what you could tell this movie was like 2008, but actually like well, so I kind of agree with Adelia to a certain point. She probably wouldn't want that in the movie, but I'm actually glad that that's in the movie. The
Yeah.
Adelia,
joke
what
he
about you?
makes to the lady that's driving the Humvee, him doing like what he was because he was rich and powerful and stuff like that. Because what we got and what we probably got throughout this whole entire film session that MCU has done as the natural progression of a character that's done probably the best. I think the major part about this movie that makes it the best is not the bad guy, the ultimate bad guy that he fights or anything like that. It's not even action to a certain point because there are action set pieces, but not as much as some of the other movies we get in the future. It's literally the character progression of
Mhm.
Tony Stark. And if
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I love the fact and going back and watching this movie, it was kind of refreshing because I do think today, if that movie was made today, if it was done in 2025, we wouldn't get that kind of a character progression because maybe they would show like Tony Stark a little bit, maybe not the perfect person, and then he kind of grows into whatever. But like because we got this in that time period, people were willing to go ahead and go like, you know what, we're going to go like hardcore here at first. We're going to show you that Tony Stark wasn't this great person that changes during the movie. So even though you may not like the things he's doing, but that's kind of the whole point is for you
Yeah.
not to
Yeah.
like those things that he's
Yes,
doing.
absolutely.
Whereas like in a movie we're about to get here in a couple of months in 2025, we have the Fantastic Four and we have somebody like the Human Torch, which is kind of like the old, the jock who's like going out there and seeing the ladies and stuff, and they've already told us like that they're changing that part of his character, and I'm like, well, no, that's part of his character Like, why are you even doing the movie if you're not going to do the character like it needs to be? Because that's part of his story, right? That's why he gets in conflicts, is because he's doing those type of things, and then his family like has to come around him. They get together. That's part of it. When you take that away, that character innately changes. If you look at Tony Stark, because he's this rich, powerful guy who's out there, before he becomes Iron Man, he's just out there willy nilly selling his like bombs and things that he's inventing without any care in the world, doing that kind of thing. And he's not supposed to be perceived as good, but it makes it a better character because by the end of the movie, he's changing. He's still got a little bit of that flair to his character, like even towards the end of the movie, but it's a different kind of flair. Like at the beginning of the movie, it's like cockiness. The
Mhm.
end of the movie, it's more of like
Confidence.
him, yeah, confidence, but it's also like
Confidence.
him kind of being goofy and kind of funny and that kind of thing. But he also has that progression with like Pepper. I would say that if we didn't get the things at the beginning of the movie, that his progression character with Pepper would not be as good either because
So
you got
Justin,
well, go ahead.
did you like the movie?
Yeah, I like the movie for
Okay.
that reason. For the
All right.
reason that like Adelia was bringing up, she didn't like, the things that
Okay. I
was
just
in
want, I
there.
just
No,
want that
But
for the
there
I
is a
just want
thing.
I want to clarify. I want to clarify. I agree with everything you just said, Justin. It makes the character progression throughout this, and it makes like Yinsen's role in this movie is so vital
crucial.
and
Crucial.
crucial to the character progression of Tony Stark. I agree with everything you just said. I just find, as a woman, really hard to watch scenes where guys are being sexist assholes, especially to other women, which he is to the driver of that
Yeah,
Humvee
exactly,
before it
100%.
explodes. That
Yeah.
was
But
my point. Not
no,
that it
yeah,
shouldn't have been in the movie, not anything like that.
no, I totally agree with that. Like when that said is because there's a lot of things that we don't necessarily want to see. But if you want to
Mhm.
make good storytelling, sometimes you got to go
You got
to
to show
the,
the evolution.
you got to
Yeah,
do those.
I'm
Cross
just glad that we sort of move on from that real quickly in this movie. Not that it doesn't shouldn't be there or anything, but for my own personal enjoyment of watching this movie, I'm glad it's not in there that
Yeah.
much.
You
Oh
you
yeah,
ch-
and I
you,
don't think it
you
should
tend
be.
you tend to change real quickly when you're about to die. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You
Yeah.
know. But speaking, Matt, you like this movie? Like,
Um.
does this hold
Oh
up
yeah.
still? What do you think?
This is like honestly, this is a like probably a movie. Like I wouldn't say A plus, but I'd give it an A. And then when I was thinking back on it, Marvel took a pretty big risk making this movie, like starting out with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you really think about it, the first movie they put out was Blade, and that had to
Yes.
be a huge risk. I don't know how they came out with that one first, to be honest. But to decide from that point that they're gonna make a universe, a connected universe out of stuff, characters and whatnot. It was a pretty big risk to start with Iron Man when you had like Captain America there, and you had, you know what I mean, Thor, some other bigger names, you know what I mean, that you could have started out with. So to establish Tony first, I thought was pretty cool. Um, yeah, you see that he's just a normal dude that he grew up in that military industrial complex. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
to him, that was natural to be making stuff and
Yeah,
weapons.
killed
They
Nazis.
also, yeah, but he also said, they had medical tech and stuff that they made. You know what I mean? He wasn't just about weapons, but
Yeah, he wasn't totally evil because in that respect, he thought his company was selling the weapons to the good guys.
Yeah, but his
But it
partner was
turns
double
out,
dealing.
yeah, exactly.
Partner
But
was
it
yeah,
double
turns out
dealing.
his
Yeah.
company was behind his back selling them to people that ain't the good people.
Yeah. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah. The double dealing. Yeah, man. It was pretty good.
I
but
just want
yeah.
to
Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
I
No, no,
just want
man.
to comment on what Matt said about how Blade was the first one. Blade was this Iron Man's the first one Marvel Studios put out, which is
Yeah.
when Marvel, having sold off their character rights to other companies and watched them make movies that they weren't entirely thrilled with, decided they were going to do it themselves. And they decided to start with Iron Man, and I think that was actually a good choice because they had sold off all their like
The big ones.
star
The big
characters,
guns.
their big name characters in the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man was at Sony, and
Universal had
Blade was
Hulk.
Universal had Hulk, Blade was at New Line Cinema, which is part of Warner Brothers. So like they had like nobody left from like their star characters in
Gotta go to
Marvel
the
Comics,
archive.
and they went. through them, and Kevin Feige or whoever decided we should start with Iron Man and build from there. And I think it was a great choice because it turned out to be a great movie.
Yeah,
Well,
because correct me if I'm wrong. Shout out to the comic book people. Love y'all, love your passion for it. But I don't correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Respectfully correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Iron Man was kind of like a C list guy, a
at
lower
least
B
B.
guy.
He was no, he
Yeah, it
was
was
like at tops. He was B.
like a lower B and like top C type thing. Where he wasn't like the big guy in the comics. So it was kind of they did roll the dice on it. And ideally, when you said that, you said they didn't like the movies. What movie do you think that they were watching? They're like, yo, man, these people are butchering our characters. We need to make our own stamp. You know what I mean? You think like
Well,
Fantastic Four 2 was like the
I
final straw?
I don't know
Or-
if it was Fantastic Four 2. You got to remember the third X-Men movie, X-Men: The Last Stand,
oh,
had come out,
yeah,
and
it
that
had
is
to
an
be that one.
absolute
It had to be
disaster of a
that one.
film, an
It had to be
attempt of
that one.
telling the Dark Phoenix saga. So,
It had to be that
yeah,
one. It had to
yeah.
be. Because if it was me, it would have been that one.
Yeah, you got to
That
think
one.
about it. The Spider-Mans were doing really good. Spider-Man 3's kind of looked down upon.
Well, that's
Like
because Sam Raimi
the,
tanked it because they pissed him off at
the first
Sony.
couple of X-Men was seen pretty positively until
First
like
two,
about
yeah,
the third one, like
yeah.
Adelius fans. So that it was like it started out good, but I'd say Blade's probably the first Blade, especially, was probably the best movie. Well, shoot, man, those Spider-Mans were
That
decent.
that first
Those
X-Men
Spider-Mans were
movie's
good.
pretty damn good too.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
that one's an actual X Men
So
movie.
like they were doing okay, but like they weren't making it hardly any profit from these licensing deals for these other studios to
The
make these
contracts.
movies. And so when they saw that the Spider-Man films in particular were really like well received, they thought, let's try to do it ourselves.
Yeah. Shout out to Kevin.
I
Kevin, man.
I will
Kevin.
say this. I will say this, especially for the main characters that ended up being the main characters and heroes there, especially at the beginning of the MCU.
Hmm.
The person that should have gotten the biggest credit was whoever. Cast. So I don't know if at that time when they were
Casting,
picking
yes.
these, was there a casting director that actually made these choices?
Yeah.
Was it somebody like Feige that was making these choices? Because I agree with what Matt was saying. If you're just going to take Iron Man and that's just the hero, like right, so
So
you haven't done any casting so far, and you're like, hey, we got these characters. It's a big risk to start with Iron Man,
speaking of
but
risk, right
when
there, double risk on
well,
Iron Man. Justin, I was
no,
only
no,
bring it up.
well, the thing I was about to say is when you cast somebody like Robert Downey
There
Jr.
it is.
as Iron Man,
There it is.
now the risk to me went away because I
No,
feel like at the time,
no,
at the time, no, he had already started making his comeback. Everybody already knew he was a great
still a risk.
actor. Yeah, it's a risk, but he got rid of the thing that was the risk. If you were
Yes, he
getting
was.
him off
Yes,
a movie,
yes, he
if
was.
you
He was out of rehab. Yes, that is correct.
yeah, if you were getting him off a movie where he was still the big drug addict, like in real life, like that he
Yeah.
was at a certain period of time in his life, and commend him for like
Hmm.
stepping up and being able to get past that,
Yes.
then I would say I would agree with you with the risk. But he had already gotten himself better,
I think
like
this was
all that
post. I think
good
this was
stuff,
post
and
Chaplin.
you knew he
Post
was
Chaplin, correct?
you knew he was a great actor, like before all that stuff started tearing his life up. Now he's back to being good. I would be interested to see like if the movie Ben Stiller movie, the funniest crap movie, uh, was that before or after Iron Man?
Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
I think it was. I think it literally was like. I think it was in the same like year. The same year.
It might be.
It was 08.
Sarah
August.
Holly Finn is the name of the casting director for the MCU. She's cast
Right.
38 films and 17 shows for Marvel Studios to date.
Well, she
She
deserves the
has
credit.
done
Icon.
phenomenal
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the casting.
She's
But-
done the
but-
credit.
but
But the thing I was going to say
Jon
was once
Favreau-
you had
John
well, I was-
Favreau was the one who said, "I want Robert Downey Jr." And I think
yeah, he
the
probably
main
played a
person-
part in it too.
No, he was the part in it.
No, yeah, he had to fight the studio.
No,
to
he
get his
he
app.
fought Ike. He fought Kevin. He fought them. He was like, "No, this is my guy. This is him." They're like, "We don't want him because we don't trust him yet." Like, I understand he came out of rehab. I understand he's a little bit more clean than he was back in the '90s and all that jazz. But we still don't trust him. We still don't trust him. We need to hit a home run here. And he was like, "No, we're gonna hit a home run here. This is who I want. It's gonna work." And and John got what he wanted, and that's why John keeps getting what he wants in Hollywood, because John is usually right most of the time.
Well,
Yeah.
the two things I'll say is like I would say like when they got him, I think the risk went away, at least for John Favreau and the people actually doing the film. They were like, boom, we got a character. But you got to look at this. He not only looks the part, like from the comics, like it's almost like you're trying to get a comic actor, accurate person to
Yes.
play the part because he looks like Tony Stark from the comics to a certain point. And on top of
His
that,
face isn't longer.
but
So
and on
so
top of that, he like the whole part of that character was being like a rock star, right? Partying, doing all this
Mhm.
stuff. He literally played that in real life.
Yeah.
He was doing the rock star drug crap. So who more perfect to play the part than someone that not only looks like the character from the comics, but also lived a life that was similar to the bad
Yes.
part of Tony Stark. Like to be able to bring that out, like I
Yeah.
thought it was genius.
Would you like the actual story of how Robert Downey Jr. got the role,
Hit
Ferris?
us. Hit us, Adelia.
Okay. Favreau was hired to direct the movie in 2006, and he planned to cast a newcomer in the role because he thought Iron Man is the star. We can make a star out of, like they'd done with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and stuff
Yes.
like that with their Marvel movies. They considered Jim Caviezel, Timothy Olyphant, Sam Rockwell, and Clive Owen to play him. But then Favreau met with Robert Downey Jr. and was convinced he was the right actor for the part. Downey was a fan of the comic, and he thought, like Justin had said, that his past made him an appropriate choice for the part, saying that the best and worst moments of Robert's life have been in the public eye. He had to find an inner balance to overcome obstacles that went far beyond his career. That's Tony Stark.
Perfect.
He faced opposition from Marvel Entertainment executives, but would not take no for an answer. Sarah Halley Finn suggested Downey create an audition tape to help persuade them, but they were still not convinced, despite Favreau and Kevin Feige recommending Downey for the
Oh,
role.
okay.
So Favreau leaked the news that Downey was in talks to the press. The positive reaction that the story got convinced the executives, and Downey was cast in September 2006. He earned $500,000 for that movie.
Right.
Yep. And then it
And
went from 500,000 to he makes now 30 million a
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
but you got to think about it. They still kind of did that, right? Because of where Robert Downey Jr.'s career was,
Mm-hmm.
you were getting this guy that was experienced that you knew had the talent, but at the particular time, it was like bringing a newcomer on
Yeah.
because people hadn't seen him in so long. Like he wasn't able to be in like any kind of big movies or any of that because of
Mm-hmm.
his life situation and problems. So you still almost did what you wanted to do, bring this newcomer on. He's a fresh face, even though technically he wasn't. But
Yeah.
because of what was going on in his life, he was a fresh face. He played Tony Stark amazing, not just in this movie, but pretty much throughout. And I think that some of the things that they're going through now, you get in this timeline and it just starts getting more and more difficult. And you're not going to be able to hit home runs every time.
Yeah.
Like, that's
I
just
think
not.
I think
Yeah.
it's working Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and Zodiac really helped him because it showed people that he's back and he's back acting. But now let's get right back into the film, guys. Let's get into like what parts of the movie that you really loved that you really like revisiting when we rewatch the movie. Let's start with you, Matt.
Um. Well, let me see. I liked when he was first putting the suit together, and it was like failing on him, kind of like he didn't know how to control it. Because that's just more realistic to me. Like I don't know. I don't like sometimes when people just like have full control of their shit or something that they just acquired. But
Mhm.
anyways, that was cool seeing them start to design the suit and work on it. But then probably my favorite part was the time when he comes out of the tunnel for the first time because that was just epic. Like when he comes to the main part where all the dudes are outside and you see him walk up like that, and you hear the dun 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 dun. It was dope. I like that whole scene.
Mhm.
That part of
Delia.
that music is okay. I'm just trying to tag team on what he just said
Okay.
about that music. But dude, I did not like. This might be a hot take. Except for the ACDC stuff, I thought that they played like at the beginning of the movie and another part towards the end was pretty cool. I mean, obviously it's ACDC, but like some of the music they were playing during some of the moments that were supposed to be, I did not like it. When I watched it
You didn't like the
today,
score?
I did not like the music when he comes out of the tunnel. It may have been the same song, but just more bang to it or whatever because of the moment. But like a couple of the parts where he's like flying with the jets or whatever. I did not like that music. I did not care for that at all.
Mm,
It just I was like, what? This is supposed to be a little more epic than what we're hearing right now. That's just what I felt
got you,
watching the
got you,
review.
got you. Adelia.
I kind of see what Justin is saying there. I think there's probably a reason that Ramin Djawadi has not done the score for another
Yeah,
Marvel film.
called
Mm-hmm.
him out.
I mean, I mean, he
I know.
did
I mean,
all
I
the
called him
music for
out.
Game of Thrones. He did all the music for Game of Thrones, so he's doing fine.
Oh yeah,
But
no, yeah, he's amazing then.
yeah. So favorite parts of the film for me are when like he has figured out that because of the Golmira cue that Christine Everhart gives him at the party, that like this is what he has to do. He has to go protect Yinson's hometown. Like that really is a moment that resonates with me a lot. And then also just all the stuff with Yinsen. It's so crucial. It's so good. Like that man saved Tony's life, then helped him get out of that cave and made that his final like mission in life because he wanted to die because his family was already dead, but he never told Tony that his family was dead, just that he wanted to see them again. And when Tony's like, we got to stick to the plan, and Jensen goes, this was always the plan, it breaks my heart.
Got chills too when you talking about it right now. Chills down my spine right now.
Yeah.
That's my thing too. Justin, hit me.
I'm gonna say that like my favorite parts are parts that like Adelia was tough for her to watch, and I understand why. But like I love that they were in there. I love that it wasn't like kitty gloves being put on. I love the fact that it was just like, hey, we're gonna do this. And I thought that the things that they did were in the right way. Like you said, if that would have been something that went on for 45 minutes of the movie where he was being like a super douchebag, that would be even too much for me. But the fact that it was put at the beginning of the movie, you didn't have to take a huge amount of time for it to happen. You were able to set that character up as like, this is what this person is and everything else. He's arrogant, he's a womanizer, whatever. I thought was perfect for the movie. And I don't feel like some people will even take that chance in some cases on some of the movies that are done today. And I just think it's bullcrap. I think uh, we all have flaws. We all have character flaws, no matter who you are. None of us are perfect. And when you see something like that in this movie, it kind of lets you resonate with what's going on, and you can kind of actually get on board with the character because you can be like, I understand. Maybe I don't have the same flaws he had, but I have different ones because I'm in a different position. But I can overcome them and possibly be a hero to somebody. That kind of situation makes it better. Whereas when you're trying to put the kitty gloves on, and make everything like PC or politically correct all the time, it just gets redundant and gets stale. And I think that's some of the problems with some of the newer movies, especially in the MCU today, has. Like, but this is another thing I've talked about with some of the shows we've been reviewing. You can have a couple of things that are kind of stupid or kind of dumb, but as long as everything else is super cool around it, you don't give a shit about it. Couple
Mm-hmm.
of them. One of them's about Adelia's favorite character there. Love that character. Thought that character was awesome. But this mofo come running out the tunnel, and he ain't even shooting the bad guys. It's been keeping him hostage. He's like shooting at the roof and everything. I thought I was like, come on, man, you could have at least shot somebody. You know
Well,
what I'm
it
saying?
Justin,
Not one of
listen.
them. We're in a tunnel. He don't even have to be a marksman to hit someone in a tunnel. You literally only have a few feet to shoot. I thought that was kind of goofy. And at the very end of the movie, we got Pepper. She's in that room, right? And she's wearing the high heels and whatnot. And she's
Mm-hmm.
like hitting this button to make this thing happen that literally happens like a couple of seconds. My first thought is, listen, I know there are some women out there that can do the high heels like if you were wearing sneakers. But even if she was wearing sneakers, how the hell she get out of that room so fast not to get hit by that shit? But like I said, that's just a couple of nitpick things that I thought was kind of funny
It's
when
some
I saw it.
dumbass nitpicks. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No. That's not to
Dumbass
downgrade the
nitpick.
movie. It was to make a point. Is
I
like
know,
there's a couple of little things that people can pick out and be like,
but
yeah, how did
I
this happen
think
or how
Justin.
did
No,
this
but I
happen?
There are a couple little things in every movie that
Yeah.
someone can
now
pick
my
out and be
thing is
like
this.
that about.
My thing is
But
about
but that's
Yinsen, Justin.
but
I
this is
said
me being
the
positive about the movie. I know those are two things that I'm
I know, but
like joking about,
let me piggyback off of the Yinsen
but
thing
that makes
because
the movie
I
great
agree
because
with you.
everything else is so good.
I no, I think I said the same thing. I was watching with me and Adelia, and I said, "Oh man, why didn't he shoot anybody?" Like I said, I told Adelia this. Why did? But then I started thinking about it. He didn't want to. He didn't want to live. he didn't want to stay on Earth anymore.
Yeah, but
Cause
you can still take out a couple of people.
yeah, I
Just
know,
But
but
also,
Yeah,
he's not
but
a he's not a he's not a murderer. Like,
exactly,
yeah,
Matt.
right, true.
he's not a
Exactly.
murderer. Yeah, that's the thing. He's not a murderer, and he's already accepted his life. He's like, I don't want to be here no more, because where I want to be with my family. Because that's why, yeah, he just put kind of suppression fire, basically. So when I started really thinking about it afterwards, because I said the same thing you said, Justin, I was like, yo, why didn't he shoot anybody? I would have shot somebody, but that's me. But then I realized, like him, you know, he
No, I
saved
mean you can
Tony's
even
body.
make in the
Yeah, no,
religious
no. Then
stuff.
like he
Like,
hooked up Tony's heart to a car battery. He did everything. He's like, I'm gonna keep you alive, man, because that's what he was, man. And it showed a more layered approach to Jensen. I think Jensen is one of the best supporting characters in all of the MCU to this day. I grade supporting characters, minor ones that not the ones that like roll over in other movies, kind of like individual supporting characters by him. It's like, how impactful are you like him? Most of them nowadays aren't, because most of them, they end up getting rolled over, so they're not really
bland.
like him anymore, because they're not individual film like supporting actors anymore. They get rolled over into like bigger and more films. He was like a isolated supporting character, and he's one of the best in all of the MCU.
Well,
And
like a
I think he's the
supporting.
best.
Yeah, I was gonna say a supporting character that you actually remember after you watch the movie. A lot of
Yeah.
supporting characters you don't even really remember them or what they look like or what they did. I'm just saying that's tit for tat, right? It's like whatever. Like everybody has their like subjective opinion on things. I think it would have been cooler if he actually like capped, maybe not even killed him, like took him out by hitting him in the knee or some shit, and then he goes around the corner and gets surprised, and the same thing happens. I thought, man, I wanted my man to, get a couple. You know what I'm saying? Not even
Yeah.
necessarily kill him, but get some arm shots or something. Like I was
Nah, I'm
like,
with
hell
you.
yeah. And then I
No, I
saw him. He
understand.
come around the corner. At first, when I hear him shooting, I didn't see that he was like pointing it up. I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit, he's coming at him. Oh yeah, go
Yeah.
Jensen, go. And then like the next little clip I see, he's like literally aiming towards the sky, like
Yes.
the top of the tunnel. And I'm just like, I just thought it was funny. But my point being is that the movie is so damn good, like you would have to be an
Ignore that.
idiot. You would have to be an
Mhm.
idiot to use those couple of little things I said to like have the movie be ruined for you, because everything surrounding it is so great. And that's what, like I've said time and time before in these shows that we reviewed, is you can have mess ups, but everything around those mess ups has got to be really good. You can even have a side plot in the movie or a show that isn't all that great, but then the main story, if it's really super good and hot, you don't care about that, right? You can get past that. It's whenever the other stuff surrounding it's not that good that everything starts to cave in on itself.
Absolutely. I agree with
110%.
that.
110%. I'm with
I
you
was
on
just
that
gonna
one.
say, watching it now, to me, the funniest part was Terrence Howard saying "next time."
Oh my god, yo, knowing what we know, that is
Yep.
hilarious. It's like the
Because
funniest thing in the world. It's the funniest thing in the world.
It's also sad.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I will say though, like just for the character, not even talking about the actor, because I get what you're getting at there. Like to me, that was kind of cool because you knew you were going to have the chance to put the actual character in the film, like the
Yeah.
character we're talking about,
Rhodey.
into that suit. And to me, one of the biggest problems is too, we got to make it bigger, flashier. I have a feeling that if that movie would have been made now in this time period, that he
He
would
would
have
have been
been
in the
he
suit.
would have been in the suit. They would have made some reason for him to have to get in the suit just to throw another one out there. But I think it's cool that they held back on that like temptation. That had to be tempting to go ahead and throw him in the suit and have him do like a
Mhm.
little something to help him win. But they were like, no, we're going to keep that. That's going to be for our second film. We're going to like slowly put that in there. And they like held on to that and like didn't stop. They was just like, all right, cool. We're not going to do that. We're going to hint at it. That's it. We're not going to do it though.
I wanna talk about one of my favorite moments is when the Jets, and Tony are like fighting each other, right? And Tony calls him initially. Well, Rhodey calls him initially, and Rhodey's like, "Oh, just top down, driving around, taking a jog." He's like, "I thought you said you're driving around." No, I'm driving to take a jog in the canyon. He's like, "Oh, okay." Then he hangs up on him, and then calls him again. Adelia points out, by the way, Tony's ringtone on Rhodey's phone,
Rhodey's phone.
Rhodey's
Rhodey's
phone,
ringtone.
Rhodey's ringtone for was it? You think it's for Tony or is it just for?
No, it's Rhodey's ringtone for Tony.
Okay, is the TV show theme song.
It's the Iron Man theme from the 1960s something cartoon that Iron Man was
Nice.
in, the
Yeah.
Marvel Superheroes or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was Iron Man's theme. It's actually on the Iron Man soundtrack
Yeah.
as well.
So he's talking about it, and he's like, hello. He's like, Rhodey, it's me. I was like, I know it's you. Like, no, it's actually me. I'm
Yeah.
in a suit. And he's like, what? And then my favorite thing is like, what at the end of it, after he like destroys the he's like, so what the hell am I going to tell people? He's like, just tell them, the basic Air Force BS, man. It's a training exercise. What the hell? He's like, ain't no one gonna believe that, Tony. What are you talking about? So unfortunately,
Immediate cut.
we had an unfortunate training exercise that ended
Went
up
wrong.
destroying went wrong and destroyed one of our planes.
Yeah,
The
that's just
pilot's
my.
fine.
I have to say that's my favorite scene
Yeah,
transition in the whole movie, just for
it's
the comedic
amazing.
effect.
I
It's
just
great.
I lost my shit. It's hilarious because also too like they're like cussing each other out on the plane. It's like, man, you doing all this, and then they get drunk. They're like, man, I love you, man. You don't listen to me though. I love you. You don't. Do you respect me? It's like, I love you, man. It's like, you gotta respect me. And then like the strippers are dancing. I don't want to
I
call
don't.
them.
I don't. I didn't see. I didn't need that either, but I understand
Yeah,
that's part of Tony's character
yeah,
at the
that
moment.
was yeah,
Like, why did the flight attendants have to turn into dancers? And there has to
yeah.
be a pole that comes. The pole makes no
I
sense
felt
on the plane. The pole
I felt
makes
like
no sense. The way that it's coming up from the floor, it makes no sense.
Innovation, Adelia.
it's structural. Yeah,
It's
no.
structural.
The
It's not
Um,
structural.
But no,
I'm
but
actually
my favorite scene of the movie though, it's the last scene. It's the last one. It's the last one where they're like, I know you don't get it. He's trying to like teach us like, I know you don't get it. It's like, and he's like, I am Iron Man. And then my favorite
That's
thing's like,
such a meaningful line in the MCU now that they probably just thought was a really cool way to end the movie.
yeah. And then my thing is like when so he says it, then they cut to a behind the back shot of him and Rhodey, and you see Terrence Howard's character. He's like, God damn it! What is wrong with you? It's like,
right.
I'm Iron Man.
Like, but yeah, to me though, I'll say like my biggest surprise because I haven't watched this movie in a pretty good while, to be honest with you. Even though I liked it, I haven't went back to it too many times. I actually thought the villain in this movie was pretty damn good.
He
I
is.
Yeah.
actually thought they set him up. Like, obviously, he's not this guy who's normally would be able to fight against Iron Man, but he does have the suit that makes it a little more equal, and he obviously embellished his and has it bigger and stuff, which could be kind of his downfall because he went
Hmm.
too big with it. But like when he had that, I don't even know what the hell it was. I guess it was something that like paralyzed you for like whatever, like
Oh
messed your
yeah,
Oh
brain
yeah,
up
the
for a little
short
while.
term paralysis thing,
yeah.
that's terrifying to
Man,
think
when
about.
he did that thing to like Tony Stark, when he did that, and he's talking to him and everything, I was like, oh man, this is pretty cool actually. Like this guy's a pretty freaking cool villain. Like because that to me was like one of my favorite scenes is when Tony Stark he takes the thing out of his chest and he's still talking to him, and then Tony's barely able to move because it slowly starts to go away after 15 minutes or so. He's finally able to move. He's starting to die because the poison's getting in his blood,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like reaching up for the thing and he can't grab it, and then that stupid little hand like brings it down.
Dummy.
I mean,
And but yeah, like, but I actually
no, Adelia, was that
respected the
dummy
villain
or
more in this.
was it the
That
other one?
was dummy.
That was dummy. Okay.
Hmm.
No, also too, Justin, I'm with you, right? So unfortunately, this created the trend of villain like hero that MCU started to do, but it was the best version of it.
It
And
is, yeah.
it's the best version
Well, I
because
mean, it was
no,
the
no,
first time they ever did it.
exactly. So like I discount like but the problem is the reason it was the best version of it is it's Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges
Jeff Bridges was
is
phenomenal in
is
this.
amazing
Yeah.
though. My like Adelia like where she talks about the Gomira and Leslie Bibb telling them like, oh, Gomira, where he's that scene where everything then like goes quiet but you can still hear them talk, where he basically says, I'm the one who screwed you over. Yes, I'm double dealing, and they're taking like a photo. You hear the menace and the sinisterness in him, and where he does it to the villain guy, like the villain guy he used as a patsy.
Yeah.
You don't feel bad for him, but you kind of feel bad for him because he's a patsy. And then like as he walks out and he's walking by and he basically says like, yo, slaughter them, I don't care, slaughter them, and you hear the gunshots killing them. You know what I mean? Then you realize like there's always a bigger evil out there, You
I
know,
want to say
yeah,
I want to say something about like the bad guys that are at the very beginning too, and the way they portrayed that whole thing. You talking about 2008, but I give them kudos because like when we have these discussions out here in the real world, right? When it comes to like any of these groups of people, whether it be Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Palestine, I think the biggest problem is everybody forgets there's a bunch of just everyday people that happen to just
yes,
live in these places that are kind of
Mhm.
sucked in, that are like innocent people. And one of the things I thought was also one of my favorite moments was like, even though they had like say, and I don't, did they ever tell what country are they actually in during this? Like,
there's no
I don't think
country.
they
They
ever
they
tell the country.
capture him in Afghanistan at the
Oh,
beginning
Afghanistan.
of the thing, so I assume that's where he
All
is
right,
in
so
the
we'll
cave.
take Afghanistan, right? So like we'll just say it's Afghanistan because that was one of the things I didn't really know where exactly where they were at.
Yeah, Afghanistan.
But
Yeah.
obviously, you have bad people there doing bad things,
Mhm.
and like there's that moment where Iron Man goes over there, does his thing, and he grabs that one dude that was also one of the bad guys and throws him out into the open and said, "He's
It's all
yours."
yours.
And it showed that the people there, the innocent people that obviously have issues because of the fact that these other people are there causing strife, which causes them strife, takes it out on him. They didn't really show like them like really getting at him, right? They just kind of cut away, but you know what's about to happen. And I was like, you know what? Good on them, because that showed like the innocent people that are just like suckered into these idiotic things that get done in some cases. And like not all the people there in all these places are bad. Nobody's all bad. Nobody's all good. And that kind of thing. So I actually really kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah, I agree.
And like I said, like the one of the problems with like say the new Captain America movies is just doesn't make sense that America and Japan are going at each other. You know that would have been China, but they're too afraid to use China just because oh whatever we China might be mad if we use China as the group. So it's like, but I actually appreciated it. It's like I said,
Yeah, yeah.
I thought they did a good job with it.
Let's go down to the villain. I want to talk about the villain. You liked Obadiah Stane. You like Jeff Bridges. You like what he did.
I do. I really enjoy Jeff Bridges' performance in this. He didn't like you could tell he didn't come in and half-ass it. Like I feel like some of these big name actors that get to come into these movies sometimes do. He actually really, gave a fantastic performance as Obadiah Stane. The part where he yells, Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps
The box of scraps.
to the kid that was Ralphie at A Christmas Story really
That's for you,
cracks me
Brandy.
up.
That's for you,
That
Brandy.
that is for Brandy, yeah. That but like he's really like on top of things. Like I didn't when I first watched this movie, did not suspect in all that he was the one that at the board meeting in New York that he had come back from and brought Tony pizza and all that had been the one to lock Tony
Production.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he does really good. He's one of the probably more forgotten villains in the MCU,
Yes.
unfortunately, just because
It's
he
the first.
was only in the one movie and everything, but I think he's of the, one and done kind of villains, I think he's one of the best.
It could be.
Bro,
He could be top five.
I loved it whenever Pepper goes in to download that stuff and he happens to show up, and the whole time I didn't
Oh, it's
know how
just
much, like I didn't know how much he knew. I was like, oh man, he's got to know what she's doing. He's kind of like
Mhm.
goofing around and doing all this, but then come to find out he didn't actually know until he actually like opened up the thing and saw that it said like download complete, and then he was like,
Mhm.
oh. But the way he played that, I was like, oh shit, like does he know? Does he not know?
Yeah,
Is she
it's
getting
like
away with it? Is she not?
what is he about to do to Pepper? That scene
Yeah.
is so tense for me when I first watched it because it was like, oh God, what is he going to do to Pepper right now? Because I love Pepper. I didn't want anything to ever happen to Pepper. And yeah, that was a
Huh,
really well played scene.
I did. Thank you for telling me because when I first initially watched it, right, when he tells me about the injunction, I was like, okay, that's just boardroom protecting money now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But then when she downloads the stuff and then the video pops up of them saying the guy you wanted us to kill was Tony Stark. So the money's going up. So he actually initiated Tony's abduction
Mm-hmm.
and murder, which means he also then killed U.S. military personnel.
Yeah.
So he
I was
orchestrated. So he committed a war crime
So I will say this though. I
or
will say
treason.
this
Treason,
is
actually.
this is another kind of flaw in the story to me. But like I said, everything else is so great. that this little flaw right here doesn't really hurt it that much. And that is what you just said. It to me, it doesn't make sense that you have one of your greatest inventors of all time that's able to give you all this technology is why your business and company's got the power it's got and the money it's got to even try to take him out while he's just being the stupid, like didn't really care about anything, driving around in his fancy cars, drinking all the time and stuff like this kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
Now it makes sense for you to try to kill him when he comes back and his life's changed because he was in a near death experience and now he's
Yeah.
not wanting to do as much of the war stuff. He's wanting to try to change their focus and everything else, and the stock market and stuff's falling down on them and all that. That part makes sense, but to me, it doesn't make sense why you would take your biggest asset and try to kill them before that change. So to
Yeah.
me, that part was like an oversight. They probably should have had that recording being like, man, when he was captured, he got away and he came back and changed, and then make some kind of other thing where it's
I
like,
know.
man,
I
we might have
think
taken
no,
him out.
but I would agree with you if he knew he could control Tony. He couldn't
Mhm.
control Tony.
He couldn't
So like,
control Tony.
if I can't control Tony, what's the second best option? I need to kill Tony.
Yeah, but when you're being stupid, uncontrollable, like when you don't have a thing that's harming anything really, except for you just being uncontrollable, but you're also the biggest asset and the greatest mind behind all the things they make, you would be super dumb to take
No,
that guy
no,
out.
because
Now,
I,
when that guy
I
gets
agree with
smart,
you.
when that guy
You know
gets
what I'm
smart
saying?
and
I
figures
think he gets
somebody out,
smart because what
yeah.
happens is Leslie Bibb's character. I don't remember Christine Everhart.
Christine Everhart.
So Christine Everhart, she's gonna end up showing him the photos from Gomera anyway, right? So imagine if she showed it to him a couple years later, and he finds out that they're war criminals after they created the Jericho. So he wanted to kill him before the Jericho became the new weapon because he then can sell the Jericho to anybody. So
Yeah.
so he needs to kill him before he commits more war crimes. So because he'll grow a conscience maybe. Because I know you're a playboy, you make all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if you find out that you're unless you're like a horrible person with a black heart,
But here's the
and you
thing,
find
though.
out you're a war criminal and you're killing children and
And going out
families.
being like Tony Stark, being the rock star, why would your character like if you're the evil villain guy, why would your character even care if he found out? Because who's to say he just doesn't side with you and don't give a shit as long as they're making money and he's able to still party?
Because he thinks the
Now,
weapons they're
once his
making
life
is
changes,
just for the U.S. government. He thinks the
now
weapons they're making are just for the U.S. government.
now once his life changes, then I'm 100% at that moment. Hell yeah, it makes sense. Like, well, we got to kill his ass now. But until that life change, he's a piece of shit going around like Adelia was saying, sleeping with all kinds of women, treating people like shit. Why would you even think that? Like,
No, but just
oh,
no, we're assuming, right? So
why would you think he would
because
automatically be a
no, because
good guy?
he's no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like, he's going his life thinking I'm a billionaire playboy making money and I'm making weapons for the allies, the America and their allies, the good guys. That's what I'm making. But if you end up finding out that the ones you're making them and the enemy also has your weapons, you're gonna
Right.
start questioning some things like, whoa,
There's
how did
that
they get?
chance, and I would agree with what you're saying if he was just like a CEO, but really didn't have any power and he wasn't the brains behind the operation. But you're literally taking the chance of killing the brains behind your operation, the guy who invents everything that you're able to even
And he's
sell,
asking
knows
too
how to
many
do it.
questions.
Right. But he ain't asking those questions until he almost dies.
But he
That's
may
my
start
point.
asking those.
It's like
No, but
to set up the thing for him to get trapped to where he almost dies at, that to me was kind of dumb. Like until you have any suspicion of him, like you knowing that he's going to care, because right now you think, well, we're in the perfect situation. I, being one of the top dogs of this company, is getting millions of dollars off of this guy's brain, and he doesn't even care because he's driving around, sleeping with ladies and in fast cars and all this bullshit and being
I
cocky.
mean, I
I do.
think what he does this for is because he wants Tony out of the way so he can be the CEO of Stark Industries and do whatever the hell he wants to do with it.
Yes.
I
Right,
don't
but like, where is he going to? You obviously see that he doesn't have people there. It would also be, I guess, cool if they had somebody there that was equivalent to Tony, like as far as being able to put things together. But he obviously
Yeah,
doesn't have that.
but weapons manufacturing, it's not like arc reactor tech that Tony is a
Yeah, but
genius.
everything gets stale. Everything gets stale, Ferris. Like you have to
I
have
know,
that new
but
Right,
blood.
but they have first off, we don't see all the people that work for Stark Industries. There's all kinds of people there inventing things and improving things and stuff like that. Like
mhm,
the people like Ralphie from A Christmas Story who can't do what Tony did because, because he's not Tony.
I mean,
Right.
But like what Tony did with the arc reactor is so different from the weapons stuff. Like Tony might have had something to do with the weapons stuff, but what Obadiah really wants is he was the CEO while Stark was still, a teenager after his parents
Mhm.
were killed, and then once Tony came of age, Tony took the job. He wants the job back. He's sick of dealing with Tony and he wants Tony out of the way, and that's
and control.
basically all this was.
Yeah,
I mean, I can get up with some of that if Tony wasn't so talented. If Tony was just like the spoiled brat who kind of got the CEO position just because of his dad kind of situation and that kind of thing, and the only thing that was
No,
important for him was
yeah.
that his
listen,
name was Stark.
he's Justin. I want to give Matt's breakdown of the villain if he liked it, but I want to leave you this is he's too smart not to ask questions. He's under the impression
Yeah,
of
but you have to
no, but
ask
no,
those
he's under
questions
no
first.
exactly, but he's under the impression of like this is
So
my dad's best friend, and we're making weapons for the good guys.
here's how you can set
But
that
then
up,
when
and it literally
Christy Everhart then says, "You just killed people in Gomera. Give me your thoughts. Here are photos of your weapons." That he's too smart not to ignore this. He's gonna start asking questions, and guess who doesn't want to answer those questions? Obadiah Stane. What's he gonna tell him?
right.
Oh yeah,
Here's how you
because
set that
the
up.
injunction isn't in this scenario. The injunction isn't created, so Tony still has
Right.
power within the board.
Well, here's how you set it up, and it literally takes less than a minute in the movie before he goes on the trip to where he almost gets killed, he gets captured, and almost dies. You have Tony maybe took a couple of drinks. He's obviously like in a little bit of a drunk state or whatever at like one of these parties or something right before that.
Mhm.
And he goes up to home dude that he trusts, right? Because he was the CEO until he was old enough to take charge and everything. Goes up to him and says, "Hey man, you knew my dad. Uh, how would my dad like, us selling all these weapons all the time?" Like just that one simple question, right? That puts doubt into the guy who becomes the ultimate villain, or probably is the villain from the very beginning. Like at that point, if he asks a question like that, that's kind of innocent, that doesn't give out a lot, but it is a question of doubt, then I'm like, all right, 100%, you're correct, right? And that would have been that. But that's what I'm saying. This right here is a small thing. It wasn't like a huge thing. The movie's great. I give this movie because I don't think it's the greatest movie of all time or anything like that. So I give it like an A minus, at the bottom A level, but above a B. And when it comes to that, as far as a grade, so I love this movie. I think it's great. But I'm just talking about in this particular instance, that's one of the things they missed, which is cool because we just had a cool discussion about that with everybody's ideas.
Yeah, I want to get Matt. I want to get your villain breakdown before we wrap it up and talk about the first ever end credit scene. Matt, hit me. Villain breakdown. Like him, love him, leave him.
Yeah, no, I liked him a lot, especially for being a human villain. You know what I mean? He was real menacing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like when you think of other ones like Ronin or fucking, anyone like that, like they seem kind of silly sometimes and shit. But he was always like menacing, so I liked him a lot. Yeah, that'd be cool if somehow he would have maybe made it through and had some bigger part, but he played his part well. Marvel has a bad problem with the one and done villains and shit, so that was just the start of it. But
Yeah,
no, I
man.
like him a lot.
The human. Yeah, thank you for pointing out the human villain. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's very menacing as a human villain. Yeah, because most villains are like aliens or some
Yeah.
type of Malekith,
Being.
the evil dwarf.
Yeah.
I will say
Malekith.
this too. One of the things I
Just call
appreciate
him
about
an evil dwarf.
See, yeah, he's a dwarf, right? He's an evil dwarf, right?
No.
Oh, is it
and
elf? Is it evil elf? Okay, my bad.
all right, that's close though. That's close.
It'd
That
be
is close.
completely different.
There,
Sorry. Yeah,
there-
Malekith, the evil elf.
well, it's kind of what elves are talking about. Like, are we talking about Lord of the Rings style?
No,
Or are we
elves,
talking about like
elves,
Keebler
elves.
elves
No, an elf is an elf.
or
A
elves at the North
Keebler
Pole?
elf? Come on.
Just
The
they're
elves at
not
the North Pole
they're
are
not
short
making
people.
cookies. Yeah,
Well, the elves at the North Pole are short too. I'm
yeah,
just
I know, but they're not
anyway.
dwarves.
Malekith is a dark elf. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah, Malekith is not making cookies. You know what I mean? This is not happening.
Malekith was a terrible
Wait.
waste of Christopher Eccleston, but we'll get to that.
We will
Right.
get to that soon. Well, not soon, but
Not
one
soon,
day.
but
Yeah.
soon.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, one thing I do want to point out too is like I thought this was a great starting out movie because of the fact that it did set up some stakes. And when I mean like we talked about a character a pretty good amount here that was a side character, but a very important side character that a lot of people I think start to like as Tony's like building his first suit and everything. He dies. He doesn't come back. He dies, and we can even say the villain doesn't somehow survive and like to come back in another
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. No,
He
Obadiah's
dies.
dead.
Right, right. So like I appreciate that, especially now after we see what's happening and everything else going on with the MCU. It's like they take that almost all the way. But this was a good start of a movie of like, hey, you might love a character that's put in the movie or whatever. They might die though. There's going to be
All right.
stakes and there's going to be sacrifices made.
That's true. But now, guys, let's wrap. We're about an hour in. Let's wrap it all up and let's talk about the very first end credit scene. I'm not gonna say started a trend because I think the trend was here before. But nowadays, people like actually stay and watch the credits because they think it's gonna be an end credit scene. It's gonna happen, yay or nay. But Tony walks in. Someone broke into his house, and it was the first time we saw Mr. Nick Fury walking out the shadows, and he says one line. He says, "Mr. Stark, I'm ready to talk to you about the Avengers initiative."
He says more than one more than
Oh,
one line.
wait, I don't know. Well, that's the only line that matters. You know what I mean? You know, so there's. Wait, really? I think he only says like
Yeah.
one or two lines.
He says that you're part of a bigger universe. You
Oh
just
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know it yet.
yeah. You think you're the only superhero here? Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, yeah. But guys, end credit scene. Quick thoughts on it. You know where you know I'm not gonna say where were you when you were watching it, but you know, how did it make you feel knowing like, oh wait, what are they doing here? Are they teasing something like the Avengers? Like really, the Avengers? They're gonna do that in live action? Is that what you guys were feeling? Hit me, Matt.
I'll be honest, I was more of a DC person, so I knew of the Avengers, but I didn't, especially with the characters that they had, I didn't know who they were gonna put in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So just at the time, I was like, "Oh, cool, they're gonna make more." You know what I mean? Like I didn't know what to expect, to be honest.
yeah. The Justice League's better anyway. But continue.
And
Um,
I didn't know who Sam Jackson
Well,
was
you
either.
wait,
yeah.
what, Matt?
What?
You didn't know who Sam Jackson was?
I mean, the actor, obviously, but not
Nick
uh,
Fury.
You mean
Nick
Nick Fury?
Fury.
Yeah, Nick Fury.
Yeah,
Okay,
like I didn't know that character for sure.
gotcha. Adelia.
I immediately thought, what perfect casting for Nick Fury. And again, shout out to Sarah Halley Finn for completely killing the casting in the MCU. Um, I was excited. I knew by that point that they were making more because, like I said, I watched this a couple years after it came out. Like I think I watched this right before Iron Man 2, because that was a couple years later. But I was excited. I thought it was a nice tease. And one thing we didn't mention in this entire review is Jarvis. Shout out to
Ah,
Paul
yes.
Bettany as
Paul
Jarvis.
Bettany.
Did fantastic as the voice of Jarvis. And I mean, like, he did not have easy dialogue to say at times.
Yeah.
So shout out to Paul Bettany. Um, but yeah, I was excited. I was excited.
Paul Bettany, stay winning in life. Married to Jennifer Connelly.
Yep.
Shout out to that guy.
Jennifer Connelly, the voice of Peter's suit in the Marvel Spider-Man movies.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Of course. Of course.
Of course.
Oh, they getting, you know, that couple getting paid.
I
Just
forget what he named her, but yeah, that's Jennifer
We'll,
Connelly.
we'll find out. We'll find out.
Yeah.
She's also back as Betty Ross too now.
Oh, is
Eddie
she?
Ross.
I thought that
Yeah.
was
That's Liv
I
Tyler.
thought that was Liv Tyler.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, wrong person.
Shout out to Liv Tyler. Justin, quick thoughts on the end credits.
I thought it was a little ballsy because like you never know how these things are going to turn out. Just like when you have James Gunn doing what he's doing now, like if that Superman movie fails in a couple months, you can kiss all them plans you got goodbye, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Wait,
So like,
Justin, we actually have evidence of that. Remember the Dark Universe?
yeah, not
Like,
true,
don't you just see
100%.
the Dark
So
Universe?
it was ballsy to have this
Yeah.
end credit scene because it might
Yeah.
not have turned out to be nothing. I mean, but overall, I saw Samuel L. Jackson. I got excited, then I was let down because two things didn't happen when he showed up on screen. One, he didn't pull out a purple lightsaber, and two, whenever he got in there, he didn't say, "Oh, I'm here to pick up my wallet," the one that says "bad motherfucker."
Yes.
I was disappointed because I'm expecting that kind of stuff out of Samuel L. You know what I'm saying? He don't give a
I know
shit.
what you mean. He's one bad
That was a
man,
Pulp
but-
Fiction reference, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's
He
good.
tells that guy in the thing like towards the end of the movie, he's like reaching that trash bag and getting my wallet. And he said, "Well, how am I going to know which one's yours?" He said, "It's the one that says bad motherfucker."
Yeah, that's the scene where they're trying to rob the place, right?
Yeah, but
Let's
that
not
scene's
get into
broken up.
that right now.
Okay, all
That
right,
scene's
got it.
broken up. Oh, Pig's a
Yeah.
great movie.
Jennifer Connelly voices Karen, the AI for Peter Parker suits in the MCU.
Man, they should have chose a better name.
They should
Yep,
have, but
Like
yep,
Lisa or something.
yep.
But on that note, thank you guys so much for joining us. We really hope you guys join us on this journey because it will be a journey.
mhm.
I mean, it will be a long, wonderful journey. We're not gonna be sad. It'll be a
I haven't.
long, wonderful journey.
I'm gonna hot
Are we
take
the
us on out of
fellowship?
here. Yeah, I'm gonna hot take us on out of here because
Well, well,
I
Justin,
haven't watched this in a while, but I actually think the Hulk movie is actually pretty damn good.
The
But I
Incredible
haven't seen it in
Hulk
a while,
movie,
I think a lot of
which we'll
people,
watch next week.
agree with you, Justin. I don't think it's a
and
hot take.
I actually like the casting better than what we ended up with. I don't
Oh,
hate Mark Ruffalo, but I like Mr. Norton better.
yeah, I heard the story was MCU just didn't want to work with Edward Norton because he always has notes.
Let's save that for
He's a
next
great
week's
actor.
episode.
Let's say that for next week. Boom. What's goes happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Madonna. Welcome to another great edition of the Rewatchers Council. But we are doing our MCU branch of our famed series. Today, we are talking with the Incredible Hulk. Will this be an incredible episode? Absolutely. But
I mean, we're not talking with the Incredible Hulk,
no,
Ferris.
I don't know, but we'll see if if it holds up, if we like it, what's going on. But I do have a couple of questions for everybody, guys. Hold up, where the questions? I created some questions. Oh snap!
No, they're in there. They're just in the previous folder, I believe.
Oh okay.
Um, introduce one of us first,
No,
and you
let's
find
just
them.
yes, I'll find them. Well, like always, forever and ever, my right hand person, Adelia. How are you doing? How are you living?
I'm good, Ferris. Not so excited to talk about this movie as it's probably my least favorite in the MCU, but it's not bad, so that's one thing to say about it.
All right, but Matt, what about you, my man? It's my main man, Matt, coming with us again,
Yep.
second time around.
Yep.
The Incredible Hulk. You ready?
Yeah. Yeah. This movie was okay. It's kind of run of the mill for me. I didn't get too excited to, especially rewatching it. Maybe the first time I saw it, I was a little, but yeah, it was okay.
All right, let's break it down. I got some notes for you guys. June 13th, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you, Matt?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
All right. Be real with you, Matt. I couldn't tell you either. I have no
Yeah.
idea where I was on June 13th, 2008. Adelia, can you tell us where you were?
I can, because I actually went and saw this opening day.
Ah. You actually watched this opening day?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, how was that?
Um, it was after Iron Man. It was slightly disappointing.
Uh,
Um, it's just not as, I won't say it's not as well made, because I think it's maybe one of the more well made films in the MCU in certain regards. But it just, the story just didn't get me the way that the story with Iron Man did. I think that they went a different approach of how to tell the origin story for Bruce Banner, and I think I would have preferred the story of what we see in the first like little montage of this movie of how he becomes the Hulk more than the story they actually decided to tell.
they kind of speed rush it through the opening credits scene, basically.
Well, and I can understand why they did that. You got to remember, this movie comes out 5 years after Ang Lee's Hulk movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there was also that TV show back in the day. Like, there was a lot of programs or movies that have told the story of how the Hulk becomes the Hulk. And so they went a different approach to it, and I applaud them for trying it. But I think I personally would have preferred the MCU's, how he actually gets involved in the program with Ross and meets Betty Ross and all of that than what we got.
Yeah, I know I'm with you on that one. I actually never seen Ang Lee's Hulk. I still haven't to this day.
I haven't either, but
Yeah. So maybe one day we'll see that. But I got a simple question. Adelia, do you still like this movie?
no.
Okay.
I just this if I had to rank my MC rankings, which I probably will do on our letterboxd, we'll get that up and going here
Yeah,
for
yeah.
this. I think we should all do a ranking of our MCU movies. I would rank this last of all the ones that I've seen because there are a few that I haven't seen yet. Simply because I feel like a lot of the characters in this movie we just never see again. Obviously, we see Hulk again, but it's a different actor. By the time we see Ross again, he's a much more laid back version of himself as
Mm-hmm.
the whatever he was in Civil War and then turning into the character that we see going all the way through to Captain America 4, which I still haven't seen that one, so I haven't experienced the Harrison Ford version of this character yet either.
Mm-hmm.
So the to me the way Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo play the Hulk is very different. um it's the same character, but Mark Ruffalo has a little bit more um charm to it to me than Edward Norton does. But Edward Norton does a fantastic job in this movie because this isn't about Bruce trying to be charming or whatever. This is about Bruce trying to survive and get answers and get whatever this thing that causes him to turn into the big angry green rage monster out of him. And I think he plays the serious parts a little better than Mark Ruffalo does.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I it's actually really a shame that we didn't get to see more of Edward Norton playing this character, but I do like the Mark Ruffalo version. However, but with Mark Ruffalo, I feel like they made him a little bit more comedic and less serious and
Somewhat timid.
somewhat timid. Yeah.
Yeah, because Edward Norton in this movie, I'll go to Matt's. When it hulks up, oh, he hulks up, and he kills people.
Hmm.
People die. You know what I mean? Mark Ruffalo, he's like, I don't want to, I gotta hulk up and smash. But Edward Norton is like, I'm killing somebody. You know what I mean? So he has to be because he realizes this is a very serious thing when I change. So I have to be serious and not changing. So I think Edward Norton plays it very well for what the Hulk and Bruce Banner have to be because it's not happy go lucky Mark Ruffalo and oh, you know what my secret is, Tony? I'm always angry. It's not that. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to be angry. They kind of throw it back that. Matt, simple question. Do you still like this movie?
As a whole, no, I don't care for this one as much. The Edward Norton definitely fit the tone of this movie better than the direction they ended up going with the Hulk and the rest of the
Hmm.
MCU. So I'll give him that for sure. And it was cool seeing him try to fight it and all that. But when you see a Hulk movie, you want to see the Hulk. You know what I mean? You don't want to
Yeah.
see the dude trying not to be the Hulk. Like, even though they kind of did that with Ruffalo's character too for a little bit in the MCU, he couldn't turn back to Hulk. But um, yeah, no, just with the way movies are now and shit, the tone of this one is just a little off to me.
Yeah, it doesn't fit what the rest of the MCU became. And I think one of the reasons why it doesn't fit what the rest of the MCU became is because of the actor change and the tonal shift with this character. If they had kept Edward Norton and kept the tone of Bruce Banner, the Hulk, like the seriousness, the sort of awkward nerdiness of him in this movie, to himself, the same, I think that I'd probably enjoy Hulk a little bit more in the MCU than I do, where I feel like he becomes the guy who's either delivering the punchline, like literally in the punch of Thor in that one scene in the Avengers when they, crash into the station or whatever, and he just punches Thor and sends Thor flying. Or by the time he's like Smart Hulk after Infinity War, and it's just like joke, 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 joke. Like that's not Hulk to me. And that doesn't fit with the Bruce Banner we started out with here. So it's like they're two separate characters, even though they're the same character.
Yeah. Also, I think because also too, because Matt, I'm with you about when you want to see Hulk, you want to see the Hulk, right? But I think we do that, right? Like we're gonna see the Hulk. He doesn't want people to see the Hulk, but the Hulk ends up coming out anyway, right?
Yeah.
So look, Bruce can fight the Hulk as much as he wants. It's gonna come out, and he did. In Brazil at Culver University. At the end, he shows up in 3 different times. So I think it does that. Going to my question, I still like this movie? I've always liked this movie. I've always liked it. I understand it. You're like, oh, you should have we seen the background and stuff like that, because
A little more of it than we got.
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like we
I
should have
understand
seen.
that. I agree with, because the common fan, the common moviegoer, our parents, our brothers, us sometimes we haven't read the comics. We probably didn't see Ang Lee or the Hulk TV show. We don't really know the origin. We know he's Gamma, big green guy, scientist. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what we know. And they kind of sped through the stuff, but I'm in the camp that the moviegoer is smarter than we think. So they picked up on it and like, okay, now I'm up to speed. So I like this movie. I still haven't hated. I still don't hate this movie. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't
Because
hate it.
yeah,
I
I
just want
like
to
it.
make that very clear. I don't hate this movie.
Yeah, you just
I
don't
don't
like
hate
it.
any of the MCU movies.
Yes,
I just would prefer practically every other movie in the MCU that I've seen to this one.
valid, valid. Also, too, let's talk about before I want to bring up some stats about the movie, but let's talk about let's talk about the stats first. Then we'll talk about the big elephant in the room. The stats, like I said, it came out on June 13th, 2008, directed by
Louis Leterrier.
Louis Leterrier, his only MCU film, technically his
Mhm.
only one. Written by Zach Penn, who also has writing credits for X2 and X-Men: The Last Stand. Talk about duality of man.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Zach. He also co-wrote or helped write The Avengers.
He came up with the story with Joss Whedon for the
Yeah,
Avengers.
he came with top stars, like we said, Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, Liv Tyler as Betty Ross, and good old Tim Roth as Emil Blonsky. Shout out to Tim Roth. You know what I
There's
mean?
a lot. There's a lot to dive into with Blonsky.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
Blonsky, yeah.
especially considering his next usage in the MCU was the She-Hulk series.
Yeah. The budget was 150 million. 219 nowadays adjusted in inflation.
Hmm.
The box office in 2008 opening weekend, $55.4 million in 2008. Now that's 81 million adjusted for inflation.
That's
Total
still
dom-
good.
that's still good. Total domestic 134.8. Uh, Inflation 197. The domestic gross ranking, 34th out of 36 at the time of recording, but Thunderbolts is below it right now, and it's only been out for a week, so it's probably going to be 35. So we'll
Yeah,
see that, because I've seen Thunderbolts,
I haven't yet. I'm seeing it tomorrow.
pretty good.
I keep hearing
Um,
good things.
yeah, total worldwide 264.8 in '08, 397 now. That's what
387. Yeah.
387 now. So there's that. But let's talk about the big elephant in the room.
Hmm.
Edward Norton gets fired,
He does.
and it was over creative differences. A lot of people know that Edward Norton is a very, very creative guy. He wants his voice to be heard within the creative process of every character he plays. But unfortunately, Marvel doesn't care. they don't.
Yeah.
They don't want your opinion on stuff. All right. They have a plan. More specifically, Kevin Feige had a plan, and he
Hmm.
stuck to his plan most of the time. He probably listened to some people here and there, probably the directors, but he wasn't going to listen to Edward Norton, because Edward Norton, there was a disagreement on tone, right? They
Hmm.
Marvel wanted a short action film. He wanted character driven, because if we were to think about it, man, imagine you're a scientist, and then you become a monster like that. A horrible human. What are you guys' opinion on that, Matt?
Yeah, I thought he handled all that part really well. Because like I did see Ang Lee's Hulk, and I liked him more than Eric Bana for sure as Hulk. Um, Especially the scientist part, the human part. But yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
No, you good, Matt. You good? Delia.
Yeah, I think he handled the parts where it's Edward Norton really really well. Um, like I said, I prefer his version of Bruce to Mark Ruffalo's.
Yeah, I do too.
Um, and like you understand in this movie that there's someone he's like fighting to get this out of him for because he wants to go talk to Betty and make things up to her because of what happened when he
Almost
turned
kills her.
into the Hulk and almost kills her. um you lose all of that when you make the actor switch and you don't bring Liv Tyler back to interact, and you have Bruce eventually having a thing with Natasha that can't go anywhere. And I don't understand why they didn't bring Liv Tyler back sooner than they did because I heard she might be in Cap 4. Um, it just I don't understand the direction that they changed here. I get that um Marvel had a plan and they stuck to their plan, and that Edward might have had different thoughts on the direction of the character than
Hmm.
what Marvel wanted, but I just like his take better, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. He's a very good actor, man.
He's a
I
very good
watched
actor.
I watched him in a Complete Unknown. Man, he was pretty damn good as the guy who I don't remember who he played. I think, but he played did he play? No, he didn't play Woody Guthrie. No, no, no. He played Woody Guthrie's friend. Yeah. So I don't remember his name. The guy who helped create the folk festival. But I agree with you. I actually like Edward Norton's take on it better because he takes it's a very serious thing, because he kill people, so it's very serious. Mark Ruffalo was a little bit more jokey, so there's that.
Mhm.
But yeah, but let's get right into it. What was your guys' favorite moment in the show? By the way, can you take me down for a bit? Sorry.
Yeah. Um my favorite moment in this movie is probably um strangely enough because I think it's way over the top with the firepower used on a college campus is the incident at Culver University where he turns into the Hulk and but you can tell still knows Betty and still knows that he loves Betty and protects Betty. Um, that's probably my favorite moment in this entire movie. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, same, but I did like the fight with Abomination.
That's
That was
good too.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was cool to see someone that could match his strength, kind of, for at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and I liked seeing how determined Tim Roth was in the movie
Yeah,
to get the Hulk.
let's talk about Emil Blonsky, the character Tim Roth plays.
Yeah,
Seems like he just wants to be a good soldier at first. He's got a mission in Brazil. He's trying to help, get Banner for Ross, Thunderbolt Ross. And he goes to and encounters the Hulk in that factory where Bruce had been working,
yep,
and suddenly he becomes almost obsessive about Hulk
yeah.
in that he wants to he
He
sees
wants
that
that
as
power.
he sees that as power and he wants that power. So first they do the super soldier serum on him, and I find that part interesting that they tied it immediately into the super soldier serum, and like that's what they were working on that caused Bruce to do this.
Yeah.
um Ferris, your thoughts on the first impression of Emil Blonsky?
Oh wait, what was your favorite part of the movie, real quick?
Oh yeah, your
Uh,
favorite part of the movie, then first impressions of Emil Blonsky.
um, it was the battle at Culver University where
Yeah.
all hell broke loose, and he destroys the atrium, and he goes after him, and then my favorite thing is about it. Also, there's like, this was post, like we said, Super Surgeon, where Emil Blonsky rolls up and he's like, "What? That's all you got?" And he like punches Blonsky and he smashes into a tree, and then
Yeah.
that was funny, but it wasn't funny, but it was funny. It wasn't funny, but it was really funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that entire sequence was pretty good.
Real
Um,
quick, the one thing I'll say though, rewatching that scene is when at the very end of it, when that big fireball comes out and he covers Betty. After watching it, especially how long the fire was blazing over him, I was like, "There's no way she would have been okay. Like she
yeah,
would
Yeah.
have been burnt or something." You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like when
no,
he held
yeah,
her
yeah,
up, I was like, "Dude, no way."
yeah. No, I'm
Sorry.
with
Yeah.
you on that one. No, no. So yeah, so Emil Blonsky, like, I like the introduction of him. You know what I mean? Because super soldier. Because they were saying like, the way they end up panning out is that like he's a grizzly old vet. You know what I mean? He's coming down into his 40s, and so he's a little slow. He's a little slow on the reaction, and does he still got it and stuff like that. And then that's what kind of then ties into like, what if I, the line he goes by is, if I could take what I know now and put it in my 25-year-old body, I would be a monster. I mean, I'll be a
Mhm.
monster. And then Ross is like, what if I can make that happen? But then it also proves to me that when I was watching this full movie, I was watching it, and it just kept talking to me. It's like, because the super soldier serum, we know it. It started in the 40s, probably in
Mhm.
the late 30s, the 40s, and they were trying to find the right guy. Like that scene in Captain America, when we talk about Captain America later.
Yeah.
They're like, who's the right guy? And then Dr. Stanley Tucci, I don't remember the guy's name.
Abraham Erskine.
Abraham Erskine, Dr. Erskine, he finds the right guy, and it's Steve Rogers, right? He's like, you're
Mhm.
the right guy. So I'm like, so over the years, America has the super soldier serum, right? Why is it every single time post that guy, it has
Yeah.
ended horribly? I keep telling him. So it kept telling me, it's like, is it the guy? Or is it the doctor who made the serum? Are they not getting his calculations right? But Emil, Dr. Erskine probably wrote it down for them, like, this is how you make it. So they probably have the way to make it. It's just that the guy they choose every single time post Steve Rogers is not the right guy, because Steve has something in him that innately makes him the best super soldier. Because they put it in Blonsky, Blonsky goes crazy.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
becomes genocidal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And it
Yeah.
seems
They,
like promote your strengths or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
I will say as well, I think this is a reason why a different type of super soldier serum, but the super soldier serum works in Bucky, because Bucky inherently is a good guy like Steve is.
yes,
He's the right kind of guy to have that serum in him, even though the Russians and Hydra brainwash him and
hmm,
use him as a weapon. It doesn't he because like the thing that I noticed about Blonsky is he gets almost junky like about it. He needs
yes,
another hit of the serum and another hit of the serum, and that leads him to when he's in Samuel Stern's office and they've just done what they've done. It leads him to want Stearns to give him a hit of the stuff that they got out of
Bruce,
Bruce,
which is the stronger stuff.
the stronger stuff. I really enjoy the way Tim Roth plays that,
Yeah.
because like he's he gets skinny almost
Mm-hmm.
from like his body, I don't know, rejecting the serum or whatever, but he needs it more and more until he gets that hit from Stearns and turns into the Abomination.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. That's why I like it, right? Because speaking of another super soldier, the Red Guardian. You know what I mean? And he didn't go. Inherently the Red Guardian. Yes, he was a part of Hydra, or the USSR, but in the end, you can really see, like, Black Widow. He's not a bad guy.
He's a good guy, yeah.
He's a good guy. And that's what I'm saying. Like, every time they do a super soldier, he
It's
loses.
either a good man gets it and it
Yes.
works, or it's a guy who isn't a good guy gets it and it turns into a disaster.
Yeah. I think Blonsky is the only time I've seen like a guy like completely like lose his mind with it. I don't think, because I've only seen Bucky, Steve, and the Red Guardian. Big fans of all three.
But they mentioned that they've tried this before.
Yes, yes, and they've all
Yeah.
died. I'm so dumb. Carl Lumley,
Carl
Isaiah,
Lumley,
Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Bradley,
Isaiah Bradley.
Bradley.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Isaiah
great,
Bradley.
a good guy who got it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And unfortunately with him, it wasn't voluntary. It was experimentation, which is
Yeah.
another thing we can talk about. U.S.
When we get to that.
Yeah,
When we
we
get
could.
to that.
But yeah, so like, yeah, so I loved. I quite enjoyed the Incredible Hulk. I really like this movie because
There's a lot to like about it.
Yeah.
I just prefer others.
yeah, I think this is probably the best Hulk movie ever because we haven't really gotten a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's the
would, I
problem.
would say that's great. One of the things I like about this movie, from like a technical standpoint, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when it's like Betty and Bruce talking, the camera's moving.
Mhm.
It's not just a stationary shot. It's constantly moving, and it gives like a texture to the scene, if you will, that I think is really interesting, and it's not done in any other Marvel movie.
Oh wow, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I may have to go back and rewatch a couple of those scenes. I realized that. But
Yeah.
so who's the real villain though of this movie?
Ross.
Yeah, it's Ross. Okay, so yeah, Blonsky's Blonsky, but Ross is he's a psychopath. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I totally understand. I totally feel Betty when she's like, I haven't talked to my father in a couple years, because he's just like out there using the might of the military to hunt down her old boyfriend because he basically almost killed his daughter.
Mm-hmm. But it was because Ross wanted to create a program
Mm-hmm.
to create a super soldier. So Ross doesn't want to admit that it's his fault. So he has to put the blame
And
on somebody.
and he's never told Betty what he tells Bruce when Betty's in the hospital and Bruce goes to see her, and Ross is there. We find out what he said to Bruce then, which
Yeah.
is he wants to cut me open and get it out of me, which will kill him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically.
So like he's just on a mission to kill the man his daughter loves, basically. And
Because he
Betty
wants
doesn't tolerate that.
Yeah,
And I
because
appreciate that.
he wants to create the greatest military force on planet Earth. Because if he can make all his soldiers gamma infused maniacs, he would win everything. It would be easy, you know. So,
Yeah.
so like, yeah, that's why he's like hell bent on this. He wants him. I don't want to spoil Cap as you know for you and the people, but in Cap 4, he kind of okay. I'm not gonna do.
No, you can
I'm not
say it.
gonna.
You can say it.
Okay, he does what he wanted to do in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He finds someone and he basically uses them to create the greatest military force of all time. He does that because that's what happens. What he wanted to do with Bruce, he ends up doing it with somebody else in a different capacity. Bruce is more a frontline, put them as gamma soldiers. This other person that they had in this movie, he does something else with. So he ends up doing what he always wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Thunderbolt Ross, is a guy that governments don't like,
Yeah.
but they need and want because he's willing to do their dirty work, even the things they're not ready to stomach. He's willing to do. He's like, I'll send an Apache helicopter to a college university and
Yeah.
multiple gunships and multiple 50 cows.
Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah,
Talk about an absolutely over the top response at a public place.
but so realistic.
So I don't know if I'd say that it's that realistic, Ferris, because I don't see any.
It's very realistic.
I just don't think that we see too many active military campaigns going on at a college campus like
Nowadays,
that.
but
Yeah.
back in the day, yes.
Back in the day, yes, but like present day.
I still think it was like people. Maybe you onto something though, but trust me, when I was watching this scene, I was like, yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. If they were going after like a regular person, two gunships are okay. You know what I mean? But they were going after the Hulk, so I assumed they would have four gunships and multiple 50 caliber rifles and all that stuff. So
I don't like military stuff.
no,
Is what it comes
no,
down
I'm
to.
with you, Adelia. But when I saw this response in the movie, I was like, yeah, this sounds about right. This is definitely what would happen.
I also love that we had the two guys walking around campus,
The
hiding
student
behind the
reporter,
tree.
student
One of whom's
reporter.
a student reporter gets the video of it.
Yeah, and Ross is watching and he said, "Damn it, they caught me." But the Ross knows that nothing's gonna happen to him because he's like, they'll forget about it and I'm gonna move on and I'm gonna destroy another country somewhere else because the government needs me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like so he's not he doesn't care. He doesn't care what happened. He doesn't care. But you know, it is what it is. So
What other questions do you have, Ferris?
well, you know, right now, you know, we're towards the my end credit scene discussion, but we're not there yet. But me, I'm just like I think we've kind of broken down this entire film. I don't think we really have much to say. Anything else?
Yeah.
Unless you guys have something. Matt,
I
Adelia?
I wish we'd gotten more Betty. I'll say that
Yeah.
again because I think that she's a really interesting, intelligent woman in this movie who has agency for herself. She's not talking to her father over this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like she's dating the guy because she's who's Ty Burrell, which is hysterical that it's
Yeah,
Ty Burrell.
it's amazing. Right? There's some people in this movie that pop up and I'm like, oh, you're in this film?
Oh
Really?
yeah, the Martin Starr
Yeah.
um,
With the pizza.
appearance with the pizza. Um, but I think Betty is a character that I really liked and connected with because like I can get behind that, like her reactions to things and stuff like that. I don't think that I just wish they'd brought her back. She would
Yeah.
have brought in so much more interesting characterizations to Bruce Banner in the subsequent films, even if you don't bring back Edward Norton. I just think having Betty would have made it all that much more interesting. Um, Fun fact on the Martin Starr appearance in this film, he plays the same character in the Spider-Man trilogy.
So that teacher is an alumnus from Culver
For
University?
Culver University, yeah.
Oh my okay. All right. Hell
It
yeah.
yeah. Kevin Feige confirmed the character in the uh, Incredible Hulk was retroactively named Roger Harrington, and that's the same character that Starr plays in the Spider-Man movies.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love it when they do things like that. Like we'll talk to it when we deal with Iron Man 2 next week, but there's a cool one that they connected in there too.
That's great. I can't wait. I can't wait for that. I genuinely can't wait for that. But you know, let's talk about it, guys. You know, we're in 30 minutes in. You know, the end credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
Thunderbolt Ross is licking his wounds after he failed in his mission,
Drinking a green drink, which I
which
just
is
think
which is
is
apropos. I don't know what that is. What is that?
it's got to be green apple something.
Yeah, but I thought Thunderbolt Ross was a whiskey neat guy myself, but
Yeah, I don't know what he's drinking, but it's very poignant that he's drinking something green.
It looks like it looks like absinthe. Absinthe is green, I think. So I don't know. Maybe.
I'm pretty sure absinthe is illegal in this country, so
Well, you know, if you know a guy. But speaking of a guy walks in to the bar as Thunderbolt Ross is throwing down some brews or shots, wearing a suit, looking all dapper and nice.
Tony Stark, you always wear such nice suits.
He
I love
sucks.
that line
He's yeah, it's
because
amazing.
it's got the double meaning.
Exactly. Yeah. Tony Stark shows up and he tells Thunderbolt Ross a famous phrase. He's like, "What if I tell you we're making up a team?" And then boom, end of movie. I guess you can call it an end credit scene, but there was no credits played before the scene started,
Yeah,
so it's kind of just the last scene of the
it's
movie.
kind of the last scene of the movie. Yeah.
But let's talk about it. There's not really much to talk about. It's just laying groundwork for the Avengers movie. But
Yeah.
Adelia, what do you think?
I think that this was a nice nod to people that got all excited about the Samuel L. Jackson post-credit scene of, oh my god, are they actually going to maybe do the Avengers?
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, it's not too much about, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But um, nice to see Tony Stark show up. Just establishing that these characters and scenarios are in the same universe and aware of each other and what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Matt, your final thoughts, my man.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool to see that they were building to something bigger. It wasn't just gonna be a bunch of solo movies and stuff. Um, and yeah, it was just cool to see Tony interacting, like Delia said, in that same universe. You know what I mean? Like everything's starting to get bigger now, and there's threats and shit that they got to handle. So yeah, they need to build a bigger team.
Nice, nice. All right. Yeah, it was. It's kind of just like a scene. It's kind of like the carrot in front of the horse. So yeah, pretty much good. I liked it. I like this movie. That's all I got. What is goes happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Milano. Welcome to another great edition of the Rewatchers Council MCU edition. Today, we'll be talking about the second installment of the Iron Man series, Iron Man 2, and the third installment in the MCU. But today, I'm not alone. I'm never alone. I got my right-hand man with me to take us through the journey of Tony Stark. It is my main man, Justin. Justin, how are you?
Doing pretty good, man. But according to how many people watch this afterwards, you know what I'm saying. I might have a couple of hot takes on this one, to be honest with you.
All right, all right, all right. We can't wait to hear it. Can't wait to hear it. But joining us is always our patron, friend, and overall Southern California cool man, Matt. Matt, how are you?
Good, thank you, Ferris. Doing well, thanks.
That's great, great. Guys, like I always do, I'm gonna start it off like I always do. Where were you on May 7th, 2010?
Shit, I mean, I don't know exactly. This was not a movie I rushed to the theater, so it wasn't like, oh, I was there watching this movie. Now I watched it like within the first weekend, right? The first few days, MCU, first couple of movies I enjoyed. People was excited, getting on there was getting Iron Man 2. Robert Downey Jr. did such a good job with Iron Man. Shit, back in 2010, bro. I don't even know what the hell I was doing, to be honest with you. But I did watch this movie sometime pretty
Yeah.
close to that.
I was 1 year in to me moving to my new city, Berkeley, California. Shout out to the move. I was a year in. Big fan. Shout out. I think it was I think this was sixth grade. So I don't know where I was doing in sixth grade in May.
Yeah, you're getting the hell out of there as quick as you can, though, right? Like,
What would you?
maybe some work happens and stuff like that. You're making a little bit of money, and then you don't have to be stuck in Berkeley. Like, you're getting the fuck out, right?
No, Berkeley's pretty cool. The Bay Area is nice.
Okay.
San Francisco, Oakland, they're pretty. It's a pretty nice area. I like it. There's a lot of stuff to do here. Go to San Jose, you got Oakland, you got San Francisco, you got a lot of good stuff here, man. Don't believe everything
Hey,
you read, Justin.
hey, man, there's like one time where San Francisco probably would have been number one on that list. It's dropped down to number 4 already.
No, San Francisco was never number one. It's always like three. Like it's always three.
But they had that Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat.
Yeah, man. They also have the Itsit. The Itsit. Y'all ever had an Itsit?
I don't even know what the hell that is.
It's an oatmeal patty, two of them, but it got, depending on the flavor of ice cream, they got mint, they got vanilla, they got strawberry, they got chocolate, you name it. And then it's dipped in chocolate.
Sounds good, but you know what? Let's go to the guy to let us know where he was at. That's in the more dominant version of California.
Yeah, well, okay. The dominant.
I don't think I ever saw this in theaters. To be honest, I don't think I saw this one in theaters. I don't know. I was probably smoking weed somewhere.
Yeah, that's a definite 100.
No, I'm with you, man. Because I remember the first time I watched this was on FX.
Oh, okay.
That's when I watched it. Like I watched it on. We used to. They used a thing called channel. You remember channel surfing, Justin? We used to do that. I did that too. I would channel surf and I would get on FX, and FX would do marathons sometimes of movies. They put Iron Man 2 on, and it would be like it was FX's movie spotlight, and it would be like right before they would cut to the movie, they would cut to like their host. I don't remember who the hosts were. They would talk about it and be like, now back to Iron Man 2, and then they would cut to Iron Man 2 and stuff like that. But let's get right into it, man. Matt, simple question to you. do you still like this movie, or did you ever
Um,
like this movie?
this has always been my least favorite Iron Man movie. I don't know, just the the villain. He could have been compelling, but I don't think he was at all. Um, Having ties to his dad and shit like that. But yeah, it was just weak, and especially like the main fight at the end is so underwhelming to me. I don't know. I never cared for this one.
Got you. Justin, hit me. Did you ever like this
I mean,
movie?
I thought I was going to be on a panel that liked this movie from the beginning and everything else. I this is what I'll say. When I first watched this movie, like I said, I didn't know I was going to be the only one that had watched this movie in the theater.
Mm.
I enjoyed it back then
Mm.
because things like doing these comic book movies and stuff, especially like a lot of the MCU stuff, we had gotten some Spider-Man, we gotten probably a little bit of our X-Men and stuff like that, which I liked a lot of those movies. There's some of them I didn't like or whatever. But this is this foray of like, oh shit, we're gonna get. You already knew when you watched this movie, it had already been pre-planned. You were getting Thor next. You're like, oh shit,
Mm-hmm.
leading to. We had already getting hints about the Avengers. So you're like, hell yeah, bro, what's this shit leading to? Sounds like it's gonna be fun. So you have this excitement. And I remember liking the movie and stuff like that, but that's what I'm saying. Like my thing's going to change now, and I didn't know what I was going to get out of this. Right? Like I still thought Incredible Hulk. I wasn't able to be on that review, but I think Incredible Hulk was about the same to me. It wasn't like super great, but I thought it was okay.
Fine, yeah, it's fine, yeah.
This movie right here dropped some points now that I go back because, and I think I liked it more then because it was still one of the first movies. So there was things that like I didn't notice, and there was things that like I wasn't paying attention to or privy to that I am now, just because we got so many movies in the MCU now to like look back on. Uh, but yeah, I think this is a movie that started to become the catalyst of the things I don't like about the MCU now.
Like you think
That
this
it
one
was
the formula got this one the formula
Well, the
was
first movie for Iron Man was pretty good to me because like it was grounded, right? It was a guy selling arms. He
mm-hmm,
gets put in a bad situation. He has to overcome that and everything else. He gets out.
mm-hmm,
And then he starts, he trajects to like changing his life a little bit. Now he actually cares about people where before he
mm-hmm,
didn't give a shit. All this stuff. And then it culminates in like he's got to get in a fight with someone who was like he thought was his friend. So there was like a lot of
family.
compelling and grounded stuff that was going on.
Mm-hmm,
Where in this movie, and I didn't notice this that much in the Hulk. I didn't notice that much in Iron Man 1. Like, yeah, they're like, because of the character Stark, you did have some like funny quips and stuff here, even in that movie, in the first one. But they were done at the right time. I just found this movie kept going back and forth. It was like, oh, we got to do a little action. Oh, there's a funny thing. Action, funny, action, funny. Just kept going back and back and back and forth. And it was like, man, dude, where's that grounded moment that I like, where there was like serious moments? Like the only serious moment in this entire movie is like he's possibly going to die if he doesn't find anything different to put in his chest
mm-hmm.
that can keep him alive and everything else. And it's like that, but they didn't even like cover that super good. So like when he found the element that finally combined, it was just kind of almost cheap to me. It wasn't even done very
Yeah.
well. So it's like,
They left a lot on the table.
oh yeah, I think this movie could have potential. You had
It had
my
good
man
bones.
Michael.
It had good.
You had my man Michael York up in this son of a gun. That dude's like an Academy Award guy, right? Like if I'm not mistaken, like he's won
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey
Mickey
Rourke.
Rourke,
Said the
yes.
wrong name, but yeah, Mickey
Yeah.
Rourke. This dude is legitimately a badass, and there was moments where you could see, bro, he's a badass. But no, let's make the bad guys. He's wanting a bird, and then you give him the wrong bird, and then he just accepts that bird. Like stupid shit like this. And then like the other bad guy, so like the guy with the money, the hammer guy, he's
Just
like
Hammer.
dancing around like a dumbass, looking stupid. He's the whole slapstick comedy villain. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm-hmm.
nothing can be serious in this movie. Like I said, the only moment they had that was serious was a couple of moments with Pepper and Iron Man. And then the moment they could have had super serious about him dying, he has to find some way to do it. And then if they would have done that like in a super well executed it very well. I think the movie could have been better than what it was, but it's because they failed on the only two things that was even sort of even grounded in the film. But yeah, go ahead because I
No,
did.
no, I'm with you because after I watched the movie, I looked into it. Right, they were trying to mix in. There's a storyline in the comics called "Devil in a Bottle" with Tony, where he falls into major alcoholism, and he does what he does in the movie, where he puts on the suit and he's having fun. I think he like accidentally kills someone or something in the comics. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not. You know what I mean? I need Coy Jean Drew to fact check me. I'm not Coy. Coy knows everything on comic wise. So maybe, maybe not. So like they threw that in there a little bit, but then they didn't really kind of pursue it. I'm with you, Justin, right? Because it's a very serious topic, man. He found something to save his life, but the thing that's saving his life is killing him. You could really keep going. I get what you're saying. It was kind of a little too quippy, a little too funny. Because I remember when Romanoff was doing the thing, and he pops up on screen, and then like they're talking to Rhodey, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm dying," and then you hear Pepper say, "You're dying." And then they have their little joke where she's like, "You could have told me," and he's like, "I tried to tell you," but they could have had like a very serious moment in his lab where he like pulls out his chest, and be like, "You see this? Like, it's killing me. I need to find something," But then you can also do like you know the poison affecting him in a way and kind of making him like, was he drinking his sorrows away because the poison was, yeah, I think there was a lot of left on the table. Same with Mickey Rourke. I think you could have made him a little more, fueled by a warped sense of revenge, because he's getting his dad's version of what happened to his dad, not the real version, right? The real
Right.
version is that his dad wanted to sell it, not actually help people. He wanted to make money, and probably his dad probably told him like, "Oh, he screwed me over," and which was good. You can have like the evolution of like, my dad lied to me. You could show a more layered stuff to that, or you could just be like, you know what? I don't care that my dad lied to me. You still ruined my dad's life. I'm gonna kill you. You can go with multiple ways. I think you could have done stuff, but I also like that when Tony is by himself and he's when he's doing by himself. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, and he's amazing at it, right? And then I like how in this movie, like the good parts of it were where it showed you the genius, because in the comics you're like, this guy is a genius, like he's the Wonder Boy. He's like, people talk about how he's Batman, but with like like Brainiac, you mix together and stuff, and it, finding out the new element and breaking down what his dad did, and then him then going through his own self discovery with his father, where he also has a version of his dad, where just like Anton, well, no, or is it Anton? Yeah,
Yeah,
Anton. No. Is it? I
yeah.
don't know. Yeah, Anton. Where he thinks his dad is one way. He thinks his dad is Superman, while Tony thinks his dad never loved him. He's like, I'm just, I don't know what the hell I was to him. He was happy when he sent me to boarding school. It kind of shows a father relationship, where like you have a father who was, in a sense, kind of like, you can say a bad father, or maybe a bad father, where he kind of lied to his son and didn't really tell him the truth, and tried to warp it. And then you have Howard, where he's like, I thought I was a good dad, and then my son just didn't. How like when you're raising a kid, your kid thinks he knows everything, and you're trying to teach him, and then your kid finally realizes, he grows up, and you're like, Dad was right. You know what I mean? I think that's what Tony was. He realized like, oh, my dad was right, when he realized during the message. It was that was pretty good. I liked it, but I agree with you, Justin. There's a lot left on the table. They could have expanded on some stuff. Rewatching it, yes, I still like the movie, but I agree with you. They could have expanded some stuff. It probably was a little too funny. Kind of didn't take it. Kind of a little too quippy. You could have really honed in on like, I'm dying.
Yeah.
I am dying.
This movie, because like in the first movie, you had the obvious character progression that was actually a pretty easy one to do. You got this guy selling arms, kind of a douchebag, because he's doing all that and he's just living the lavish life, doesn't even care about his company. He's rich, whatever. He's doing everything. He's a showboat, all this
Not
shit.
paying attention.
And he progresses. So the problem with the second movie would be, what can we have to give Tony Stark another compelling story that he has to overcome? Well, the issue with this movie is they came up with a really good one. The stuff that he uses to like keep him alive so the shrapnel doesn't make it to his heart is actually killing him over time, right?
Yes.
And he finds that out. So you could have had this very serious thing where he's like, having to deal with this, like this his death coming up, so you can even have the drinking thing happening or whatever, even maybe
He's,
have him
he's
make a
self-medicating.
terrible mistake, right? Like
Yeah.
so because he like doesn't know, but now he's like whatever. He finds himself where he doesn't care as much anymore. He's only got like a year to live, that kind of situation. But then like, and then you have a serious moments, not these jokey quips like you just talked about, where it's back and forth. Oh, you didn't tell me he was dying. Blah, blah. At a serious moment, you could have the serious story where Pepper's there for him, right, and bringing him up. Like she finds out, right? She walks in. He doesn't expect her to come in. She walks in out of nowhere.
It's like, what? Why?
She
What's that
finds out.
feeling? Yeah.
Yeah, and she finds out, right? And then uh even maybe Romanoff, like Black Widow tells her, right? Like, hey,
Yeah,
I'm just
like
gonna
you
tell
remember
you,
that scene where he comes in where with the strawberries. He's there to tell her he's dying. Why you could have just told her there? Like, I need to talk. We need to talk.
and it could have been an interesting tell where she like lifts him up, right? She's like, look, who cares if you got just a year to live? We got things to do. We can get things done. Finish something like maybe even trying to finish his dad's project of like giving people like renewable energy that's super cheap, man. Like make like she's trying to bring him up, like don't give up, even though you only got a year, you can have the best year of your life situation. They have the serious story. And then they also could have had York, and I can't remember his name because you're better with names than I am. I fucking suck with names. But let's just be honest, the bad guy, Justin Hammer, that's in the character that's in this movie, like he should have just been
sacrificed him.
He should have just been a badass, like not badass as far as fighting, but he should have been this guy who was a douchebag piece of shit that everybody hated, not because his jokes sucked, and not because you were just making fun of him. He was a punching bag in this movie. Like he should have been more serious. And then York hooks up with him, right? And now York, who didn't have the funds, now has it. And they're combining together to make this devastating duo. They're working together instead of being like whatever. And it's a badass like moment and scene. It even makes the end battle would have been more badass if, say, like home dude Justin Hammer's like he knows about the computer stuff, so he's like controlling the other guys. And then you got like what was his name? I guess like the character would be Sidewinder or something like that. You got him coming out like badass with his new suit and everything else, right? And they're like
Don Cheadle
working together.
No,
I'm talking about York when he's a bad guy.
Whiplash.
Yeah. So you got Whiplash showing up.
Sidewinder.
Right? Yeah, Sidewinder. Who the hell is? I think that's a damn
no, Sidewinder. No.
Yeah, it's either a G.I. Joe character or
no. Sidewinder is Giancarlo Esposito in the new Captain America movie.
Oh, that is true. So there's like Sidewinders everywhere. But anyway, we have the character Whiplash come in, and then like they had this badass battle, and maybe that makes Iron Man like one of them has to fight Whiplash, right? And the other one's having to find
War Machine. War Machine has to fight out.
War Machine has to go find Justin Hammer where he's at and fight off all the other robots, or whatever. Could have been an intriguing thing. There were things in here that could have been badass if you just made changes in the tone. But it's even like when Whiplash first shows up and they're in the race car thing. Come on, bro. Like you even like F1. You like Formula 1 and shit.
Yeah.
Like, bro. I don't even know what the hell that was, a Mercedes Benz or some kind of damn car that's like foreign, that's supposed to be expensive. That it was
a Rolls Royce.
Happy and what's her name's riding in. So that's even stupid as hell. Doesn't even make sense how they would get there through that. They should have just had them driving up to where the accident was, and they kind of throw it over the wall or something, talking about his case to be Iron Man.
No, so it's the Monaco Grand Prix. So Justin,
bro, they would have died in a wreck.
Well, no,
those cars are going 150, 200 miles an hour.
Okay, I understand, but so I guess the way I'm trying to, I kind of see where you're coming from, but let me kind of explain. We're like, it's the street of Monaco. It's not like a racetrack.
No, I get exactly what they're doing. Like even NASCAR has a couple of like street races they do, like where it's going on different like roads or whatever. But the thing is like if they would have been going with the traffic, I would have been okay with it. But they were going head on into these cars. Yeah, they're like 200 miles an hour. The best drivers in the world wouldn't have been able to dodge that road to roast every time. There would have been deaths, casualties there. But then even during that fight, when it looked cool as shit, I ain't gonna lie to you now. The whiplash and like two of the cars are exploding behind him, kind of thing.
And then cuts
and they're falling down as he's like walking slowly towards them.
Thank you for bringing that up. But before we get into it, that's actually my next question. Let me throw some stats for everybody here. Like we said, director Jon Favreau, Happy Hogan. The writer though is Justin Theroux. You may know him for roles in Mulholland Drive or The Leftovers. If anyone's a big Leftover fans, top stars like we talked about: Robert Downey Jr., Mickey Rourke, Gwyneth Paltrow as Ivan Vanko and Tony Stark and Pepper Potts. Ivan, that's his name. Ivan, not Anton. Ivan. Let's get some money stats. Budget was $200 million back in 2010. Nowadays would be $294.1 million, so almost $300 million for adjusted for inflation. The original release in 2010, the original 129.1 on opening weekend, adjusted for our standards nowadays is 188.4 million. Total domestic, which is we know what it is, 312.4 back in the day, and now it would be 459.4 today. Gross ranking amongst all of the last 36 MCU movies. We've had 36 lately. At the time of recording, as we speak, it is 21st overall. Worldwide they made 623.9 million, and adjusted for inflation nowadays is 917.4 million dollars adjusted now. So there's some stats we like to do for the show, but now the big moment is, Justin, your favorite moment, like you were talking about the fight scene with Whiplash initially.
But
is
it
there
ain't
any
my
other
favorite. It looked
no exactly
badass.
yeah, it looked
But
badass,
then, like,
but
they show
now
up in the Rolls Royce.
dovetail it into your favorite moment.
But yeah,
Talk about it and then talk about your favorite moment.
Well, I'm just saying, like, they showed up in the Rolls Royce, and home dude literally one swipe could have killed him. And it was just so dumb to me that he's like on purpose hitting their exact right spots where they're not seated, like right in the middle of the car, right on the side of the car, on this side.
But he also did get like run over, so they ran him into the fence.
But and how did that even work? How did he even able to walk afterwards? To be honest with you,
well, it's just
Happy ran him over 4 times, and it wasn't like he was wearing a full bodysuit. He only had the thing like around his chest area.
It's also a comic movie, all right. So like,
that's what I always say. If all the great, like, if they would have took more seriously those story points we were just talking about, and that was the first fight scene, I would have ignored it because the rest of the shit would have been so great. But it's so how much, like I said, too much comedy, man. And like, I literally was watching this movie and I'm like, holy fuck. This movie kind of started some of the bullshit that I do not like about the MCU right now in most cases. I enjoyed Thunderbolts, by the way, so I'm not just a person that complains and
Thunderbolts
is
great.
hate.
I like
trying to get clicks. I actually enjoyed Thunderbolts.
I like Thunderbolts,
but like
no comedy in that movie. That's all I have to say.
I mean, there is some like couple.
Well, no, there's some, but it's not a very happy movie. That's all I have to say.
It's hard to choose. Like, if you want me to say like my favorite moment, like, it's hard. I would almost say, and this shouldn't be it. I would almost say when he did get drunk as Iron Man and him laughing his ass off as a drunk person, and like doing the stupid shit, like shooting the wine bottles out of the air. Because that kind of did make me laugh because I'm imagining myself like being drunk, right? Like, and me doing stupid shit.
You had the Iron Man suit in your garage, yeah.
Yeah, or something like that, right? So I was kind of laughing at that, just thinking about it.
Let's go ski.
That's what makes it sad. There should have been a Pepper Potts moment in Iron Man, even though they tried to do it towards the end, especially. But there should have been a moment with them that I'm like, nah, man, that was just so damn riveting. Like, I couldn't take my eyes off of it. There should have been a moment where Iron Man has to do something to find something, that element or whatever, and it wasn't just a cheap way of doing it like they did in the movie. Like, it wasn't just so easy. He basically like found almost by accident, kind of bullshit. Like, so to me, it's like, man,
not fully by accident. His
dad moment. But
kind of,
led him. But even the dad moments you could have had in here, what could have been more like even more serious or even more heartfelt, and I thought I was missing all that. So the only thing I could pick would be my favorite part of the movie was a part that it was meant to be funny. Well, it was meant to be funny that he's like.
You can also dovetail it into his fight with his best friend, where his best friend's extremely disappointed in him, and like, I can't believe you did this, man. I defended you, and look at you now. You kind of figure out, Matt.
I don't even think they did that really well. I know what they were trying to do there, but I don't even think that was done super well. But
Matt, your favorite moment, my guy?
Honestly, the part that I thought was the coolest was when they were fighting all those drones in the kill box, and you just saw both Iron Man and War Machine going at him. Fucking, War Machine's Gatling gun firing all over the place,
Bro, he did
and then
split one in half. That was pretty awesome. That was
Yeah,
there were some things
yeah,
in here that looked awesome.
yeah,
and then Tony takes those discs out of his fist or whatever and cuts them all in half. That
yeah.
part was cool as hell.
The one shot kill, yeah. Yeah, which
Hmm.
well, thank you for bringing that up, Matt. It kind of dovetails into my next question. You know, the villain breakdown. You know, Ivan Venkov shows up and attacks both of them. Like I think we've talked about it a couple of times about Venkov is how we were kind of left wanting more from him. Because I agree with you. I think we could have gotten more. Him getting his mind warped by his dad because his dad didn't want to face the truth that he was actually it's his fault that he was like we were here to help people and you wanted to make money. That's not how we do things. And Howard Stark got rid of him, and like we said, Mickey Rourke, Academy Award winner, so we know he's a good actor and he could have probably taken a lot. So what do you think, Matt, about Mickey Rourke? Do you think we could have had more? Was he perfect? What was your thoughts?
I mean, I think he ate up the scenery, chewed it up with what he had, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just I can understand the revenge too that he wanted to take and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't even like really do anything with it. Kind of like, I mean, he took down Tony in front of everyone, and then he got arrested. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if what's his name Hammer didn't get him out, he would have just that would have been the end for him. Like, so he didn't even really get like a good revenge. I don't know. He was
Mm-hmm.
just I don't know. It was kind of a waste of a character to me, and I don't know.
Yep. Yep. And I'm with you, man. I think MCU's we've been saying for years, MCU, the villain problem. They have a villain problem. A lot of their villains, they're either they're wasted or they weren't given a lot. Again, apparently the best villain is, either Thanos or Loki, but Loki is no longer really a villain. So, so villain, I think Vulture was probably a good villain in the Spider-Man movies, but we'll talk about those when we get to them. So, Justin, agree with Matt, disagree with Matt, or
No, man, I totally agree because like I said before, like you put him with this slapstick comedy bad guy that's giving him the money to
Mhm.
be able to do some of the stuff to even help him on his revenge.
Oh yeah, Justin Hammer.
But
We
you
forgot
got
Justin Hammer. Yes.
Yeah, but you got like York over here. He's a badass when he gets like the opportunity. And then there's like a moment, like when he first like meets Iron Man and like some of that stupidity occurred, I said, in that first fight. But then like, he finally does get taken down by Iron Man and he's like laughing and saying like you lose, and it's basically because of this. And Iron Man goes and it talks to him and he's like basically like I made you bleed, and once that happens everybody's coming for you. What would have been cool is if the middle part of this movie they kind of scratched some of the bullshit that didn't mean a whole lot, and they actually maybe even could have saved the whole thing trying to kill Tony Stark for another movie maybe or something.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular movie, I would have loved it as if Home Dude's in jail. Hammer's not a joke. He's an actual real dude that wants more power. He is jealous of Stark, right? And you got the jealousy guy and the revenge guy teaming up, like I was talking about earlier. But I really would have loved it if that middle part of the movie was like these random motherfuckers that tried to take Iron Man out, like out of nowhere, like so that we
I
had
think
the
the I
villain,
think the
like the villain
line.
kind of proving his point, right? Of like you're bleeding now. Now people's going to come at you.
Yeah.
So you had these people in the background that was afraid to come at Stark. Now all of a sudden they're like, nah, man, we're going to try to take his ass out. We know he can get beat if we catch him at the right moment, kind of situation. I thought it would have been cool, and it wouldn't have had to been like super villains coming at him. It could have been like different groups and pockets around the world, right? Like because like
Army militias,
army militias, like because in that
the
first
U.S.
movie,
government because they want the
yeah,
suit, thrown in there. Yeah, because I think the line in the movie is, I think he says, if I make if I think it's like if I make God bleed, people won't believe in him or as strongly as they thought.
yep,
And I go back to this documentary I watch about, I think Justin, you may appreciate this, about Dale Earnhardt Sr.,
mm-hmm.
right? And how his death changed NASCAR because of the neck device that people. So because for years everyone kept saying, people kept dying because of neck injuries and head wounds, and everyone was like, oh, that's not gonna be me. That's not gonna be me. They died because of driver error. And then when Dale Sr. died, everyone was like, if that happened to him, what's gonna happen to me?
Well,
Because
he was one of the ones.
Yeah,
He didn't want to wear it because he said it
it messed up
obscures
his
my vision.
peripheral vision. Yeah, yeah. And I think the line in that documentary, I think it was by Ryan McGee. He said when everyone when they were like the mortal man saw God die, they started to think what's going to happen to me
Mm-hmm.
when Dale Senior passed away, and I think that's what they were trying to do with Tony. He, he's now it's like literally like when it happened, the government was like, he told us we weren't gonna have it for 30 years. Some random jamoke from a gulag created it. So what else? What else has he been lying about? And then it goes back to the first scene where I like how the senator. Uh, for years, I never knew who he was, and then I realized it's Gary Shandling from the Larry
Yeah.
Sanders Show. It's
Yep.
Larry Sanders, and then so Larry Sanders had to sit there and be embarrassed by him. So now he's like, look at this clown. He was being a clown in our court. He lied to us. Look, what else has he been hiding from us? And it ruins his reputation. It ruins his relationship. He's dying. Kind of in a sense, he was kind of correct, but he literally also wanted to kill him. It was kind of see exactly that's why I'm with you, Justin. A lot was left on the table. A lot was left on the table. We got a slice of a pizza, not the whole pizza. We could have had a great giant pie if we wanted to do it.
Listen, man, I'm gonna look straight at the fans here, right in the camera, because most of the time it's at an angle. I'm looking at you guys. If you make it to this point, I'm gonna let you know.
Hit that like button.
Listen, I'm a dumbass son of a bitch. Okay, let's be honest. When I watch a movie and I walk away from it, and I can name 5 or 6 things that legitimately would have been a better story, written wise, whatever, like that means something. That means the movie ain't very good. Now, I am one of those people that also believes that you can like movies that aren't very good. I like some of them. I like movies that I know. I like movies because they either make my ass laugh, they're so bad, whatever it is. I like movies that I know aren't actually good movies, right? It's okay to enjoy those movies. So don't let nobody shame you because like you happen to like a movie or a show or something like that other people don't like, because that's up to you. It's like a subjective thing in a lot of cases. But a lot of times you can objectively say, well, this movie wasn't done very good, right?
What if
So you can be a
what
fan of
people
Iron
don't
Man
like?
2. You can be a fan of Iron Man 2 because maybe it makes you laugh at more points than it made me laugh or whatever, right? You can still be like, I like the movie or I enjoyed the experience. At the same time, you can also objectively say this movie is a mess and it could have been done way better.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the thing I think people like butt heads about a lot of times. It's like, just because I say this movie ain't that great. Well, like I said, if you would have asked me back when I first watched it, I probably would have gave it a way better score than I'm about to give it on tonight's review.
Yeah,
But that's because the MCU,
too,
the MCU has 30-something movies now, and there's about 15 of them that have the same problem that I noticed in this movie.
yes.
But at the time I watched this movie, I didn't realize that much of the problem. You see what I'm saying? Because it was like one of the first movies.
Yes,
it wasn't
the third one.
Yeah, but like,
by the way,
other
guys,
two
when
were
we
grounded more.
By the way, guys, when we score these, I want can we give them out of 5 stars because we're gonna put these on our letterbox with combined scores. So make sure to also follow our letterbox. We're gonna put that up as well. So make sure can we go stars, please? Stars, not letters or numbers. Stars, because it'll be great for our letterbox that we're gonna have like a giant list of movies that we reviewed with our star ratings. Average is gonna be an average. It's gonna be an average. It's not and we may throw in the individual in the description, but the average there as well. So
I got you. That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah,
exactly. We ought to promote that at the beginning of the damn thing.
We did.
Okay.
Well, we did. So but I want to remind everyone. So we're gonna do these out of stars, 5 stars. I'll accept the 4.5 and the 3.5 with the stars because that's an option on Letterbox. I'll do that begrudgingly, but yes. So we're gonna do stars. But before we do the ratings, the end credit scene, very quick. I don't want to talk about it because Adelia.
Can you look up? I'm going to judge it because the reason why I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm going to ask you to do this real quick. Can you look up when Thor came out after this movie? Like, what was the gap?
Oh,
because this is going to affect.
I got you.
This is going to affect how I thought about the end.
Literally 1 year later.
Okay.
Literally 1 year later, May 6, 2011.
So my thoughts on the end credit scene, shit. It didn't do nothing. Like, if Thor, that's why I wanted you to look it up, because I will say this was a cool end credit scene if Thor came out like a couple months later.
Yes.
But a whole year, like you looking out in the desert and saying we found it, like I get that we're supposed to understand he's talking about Thor, right? Like because in the lightning happens or whatever, right? The sound effect at least happens. It's like, okay, cool, whatever. But I have to wait a year for that little cheap ass thing. Bro,
Well,
this ain't credit.
this was man. This
I'd have
also
been pissed off if I would
no.
have waited in the theater for this long to watch
Justin.
this
There's
damn
also
end
the
credit.
back in the day where they only released one movie a year and they took their time with it, and people were okay with it. Now people.
You got to give me more. You got to give me a scene where Thor. You got to show me Thor.
Well, some people nowadays are
landing on the
complaining
ground out there or
there's
something.
too much MCU. There, it's too little, too much. I don't know what everyone.
No, I'm cool with the 1 year thing, Ferris.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they should have been 2 months later, but this end credit scene left
Was
a
just
lot to be desired to have
just
to
the
wait
hammer.
a year.
It was just the hammer and
Yeah, like
and
that was not enough for you to wait a whole year.
yeah. Matt,
So we should have seen Thor in his costume at least, right? Show up and like lightning shows up and shit.
Yeah, or they could have just showed someone trying to move it and they couldn't move it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been cooler. I would agree with that. Like actually have some
like the shield scientist, they probably be like, hey, let me see if I can grab it. And you have like a scientist try to grab it, and like someone from like a
you could have had a lot of people and like big strong dudes, and you just had a couple of them go up there and try to pull it.
Phil could have been like, Phil Coulson, shout out to him.
So Phil Coulson should have showed up, right? And there's this line of people, and he's like, what the fuck's going on? Right? Because he doesn't know 100%. He shows up and he walks past this line of like big, strong guys or whatever, right? People that obviously work out in the gym kind of situation. And then he finally gets to the end of the line, and he can't see. He sees the guy struggling with something, right? But you can't really make out what it is. And then Coulson kind of goes around the guy, and then the hammer's in full display. And the guy's and
then he calls and says,
"Oh, he's like, we found it. Yeah. See, something like that would have been cooler, but come on, man."
The reason I want to point out this end credit scene, shout out to Delia. She's on vacation. She last week when we did Incredible Hulk, she pointed out that Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, and Thor it's so she has a book. I gotta buy this book that she has. These three movies are called Nick Fury's Big Week. So all three of these movies happen in 1 week of each other.
Cool.
So they're all literally in a span of 7 days, where in the movie, Phil Coulson responds like, I've been reassigned. And he's like, oh, where? I'm going to New Mexico. A couple days later, he's in New Mexico. So Culver University's incident happened a couple of days before Iron Man 2. So imagine America has an incident at Culver University with a green dude. Tony Stark's home gets blown up. Stark Expo is being exploded a couple of days later. And it's just, living in this world is just crazy. That was also another fun tidbit about this end credit scene where it ends with Phil Coulson. I'm assuming the end credit scene is the Saturday where he's like, I found it. Where Sunday through Friday was Incredible Hulk and Iron Man together, which is hilarious to me. That's the one thing I really enjoyed.
And remember, it just said that the little kid that was wearing the Iron Man mask that put his hand up, that's supposed to be Peter Parker.
Yes, so they added more information in that book, and it's not a retcon, I guess, because that kid was never actually known to be anybody. What is it a retcon? Can you make is that what a retcon is? I think so. I guess I'm using retcon correctly. They retcon that kid, whereas like he's about to shoot the dude. That's Peter Parker. That's supposed to be Tom Holland, which I didn't know. So apparently that little kid is Tom Holland. Tom Holland's Peter Parker. So there's that little another tidbit as well in there as well. So shout out to him. Shout out to little Peter Parker for being at this, because the expo is in Queens. Which is where he's from. He's from Flushing. He's from Flushing Meadows, which is in Queens. So he probably told Aunt May, "Can I go see the Stark Expo?" And she was like, "Sure, Peter. Make sure to stay safe." And he almost dies. But it is shout out to Iron Man for saving him. But on that note, any other final notes, everyone?
No, I'm good. I'm ready.
We give our stars.
Oh, the stars. Yeah, star rating. Justin, hit me.
All right, I'm gonna. I'll do. So this movie, when I first watched it, I would have put it like probably at like a B plus, not in the A range, B plus. I'm going to give you the star rating here in a second, but I'm just
No,
doing
I
it
got
like
you.
I normally do. So B plus. This movie, after watching it now, is going to do. I might change my mind on some of these other movies and actually go up, but this movie went down. This movie went to a C minus, which would equivalent to me to a 3 on the 1 to 5 scale.
All right,
Because
3
it's right
stars.
above. It's still passing. We're not at the 2.5 mid, almost
Yeah.
failing grade. We're still at a passing grade. There's still some enjoyable moments in there. There's some cool looking action scenes that happens, like that kind of thing. So at least I can take that out of the movie, but I still think the story was like the weakest part of it, which sucks because I thought the story in Iron Man 1, if you go back and watch the review, like I was talking about how good that movie was, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yes, yes. Matt.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 too. It was just I don't know. It had like a half baked story, and especially the boss fight at the end was just really underwhelming to me. Like it was more fun watching them fight the drones than it was fighting Whiplash at the end.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Yep.
Yeah, the Jones nice one was good. Yeah. I'm gonna kind of like, after this, honestly, guys, I was coming in to be like, I'm gonna give it a 4. I really liked it, but then after this conversation, I'm kind of, I'm gonna bring it down, and then I'm gonna, break my own rule. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. So I'm, because y'all made some good points. I really, there was a lot left on the table. We could have really expanded upon, his literal. He's literally visualizing his own death because every time he opens his chest, he sees the poison in his blood. So that would mess up a lot of people. So right now we're at an average score of a combined score of 9.5. Divide that by 3. So we are at 3.2 stars.
Yep.
Is what our average rating for.
I get
Iron
it
Man
though.
2.
The first time I watched it, and the first time a lot
Yeah.
of people watch this movie without a second watch, they just watched it the one time in the theater. You walking out and be like, "Bro, did you see that moment where he's like walking and the cars are exploding by him? That shit looks so cool!" Like, and then there's other moments like there was the same thing. Oh man, like you were talking about when he pulls out the lasers and he spins around and like kills like all those dudes, or even the moments where he's getting chased by War Machine because he's out of control. There were some moments there where they've blown up the cars. You walk out with a spectacle and you're like, oh shit, this like looked really cool. Yeah, this movie's badass. But then when you go back and watch it and you're like paying attention to it, you're like, yeah, I mean that was kind of cool, but the rest of the movie kind of sucked.
I just want to say one last thing too. Like
Matt.
this movie, to me, showed like no chemistry between Pepper Potts and Tony.
Yeah, until the very end. I agree. Until the very end.
Well, like it's like they liked each other more in the first one than they do in the second one.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why did their relationship kind of get more struggle? Like they didn't really explain that. But then, like I said, at the very end, I thought they did an okay job. When he saves her, and they're standing there and they're talking and stuff like that. I thought that was a good chemistry moment by them. But I will agree, the rest of the movie kind of fell off. It's like they don't really discuss why him and hers.
Yeah, you can, like also too. You kind of also like expect like the fan to like. To piece things together. But at some point you can be like, the reason it's strange is that he's dying and he won't tell her the truth of what's happening. And she's probably like, you're not telling me something. What aren't you telling me?
Yeah, but the problem with that, I agree with what you're saying.
No, but she doesn't say that. But that's
yeah,
the thing.
Exactly. That's the problem is like Pepper Potts is a
something.
smart woman. She's a smart woman. She would have came out and asked it.
Yeah.
She doesn't. And that's the issue, right? Like if she had that issue, she would have inquired about it.
Because in the first movie, it's revealed that she knows Tony back in like the back of her hand, because she was she's like the
secretary or whatever.
Yeah, she was assistant. She knows what to do with the women he has sex with, and he trusts her with that. He knows about the art he loves and all that stuff, and she knows him like the back of his hand. So like you kind of see that.
Basically, if you're a fan trying to explain this, what you just pulled up, you got to think about it. She was an assistant for a pretty good while, it seems like. They don't really tell us the years or anything like that, but it's a pretty decent while. She knows a lot about him. Like maybe that's why the relationship's kind of estranged, is because she like remembers all the people.
She knows too much about him.
She knows all them women he was like.
Well, she said she was curating that art collection for 10 years. So
yeah, so
that's
like
true.
Yeah, so like she saw 10 years of him just humping women. She's just like, man, why would Pepper Potts ever want to be with him?
Yeah.
Like when
especially
you think
after
about
she
it
already
now.
had the company.
Yeah.
Like you got to
then,
think that like ever since
like,
he had money, like he
like
was going around humping girls all
exactly.
all the
But then still like in number one, he almost dies as well again, and you know that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like he almost died in number one, and he became more truthful, and he really was more forthright with her. And in the second one, he's dying again. He should then be honest with her, like, "Hey, I'm dying, Pepper. We need to find something to fix this." You
Yeah,
know.
and here
But
goes the.
I don't know why he keeps that. You know what I mean? Like he
No, I
could
was
have
just gonna
told
say
Rhodey.
real quick. I know we're trying to get out of here, but real
Yeah.
quick, I would say, why the hell? Why do we always have to find some kind of problem to drive an issue with the main character hero? When like this movie, like all right, so if on the third movie, I get trying to throw something like he's possibly dying from his thing. The first movie, he almost died because he got captured. But why in the second movie couldn't we just had Iron Man being Iron Man, and the whole driving force of the film is that the bad guy is a
Him
dangerous
stopping
ass.
evil.
Yeah, the bad guy is a dangerous ass mf'er. He's coming in here to take your lunch. We're legit scared of him. Iron Man's even scared of him, and that's what he's got to overcome as the actual bad guy. That's the problem. They try to have him overcome his feelings, try to have him overcome, his heart being diseased, whatever, all this bullshit. When sometimes it's just really cool to like have to overcome just a badass bad guy.
We do see that a lot in the next couple movies, like the Cap movies. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
That
It's gonna
man,
be
that
good.
man's beating up Nazis.
Yeah, yeah. But speaking of beating up Nazis, we want to do it, but we can't right now because we have to we have to end the show. So thank you.
Wait,
So, yeah.
bro, that's not a good thing to end on. I don't know if
I know.
it's like
No, I tried to connect it. I tried to connect it. It didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. It didn't work. What is good? What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Madonna. Welcome to another great edition of the Rewatchers Council. Today, it is a glorious Saturday. We are doing the MCU edition of the Rewatchers Council. Today, we are talking about the fourth installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. One of Fury's big day, a big week. Big week. It is Thor. The first one, Thor, the mightiest. What is it? Is he the mightiest hero? Is that what he is in the comics or whatever the hell it's called? But doesn't matter about Thor. I brought along people more mighty, more honorable, people who are probably worthy of Millionaire. Starting off with my right hand man, Justin. Justin, how are you, dog?
well, I'm sitting over here thinking about that hammer, that big old hammer,
All right.
big old girthy hammer being in my hand,
All right. You know it.
and wielding it against my opponents.
Absolutely. Someone else who could lift the hammer and use the God of Thunder's power. It is one the only. It is Matt. Matt, how are you?
Yo, I'm doing good. Thanks, Ferris.
Well, thank you for being here, my man. Thank you for being here on all of them. Guys, the fourth edition, another origin story, another beginning of the characters' arcs that we've known and loved over the years. Let's start here, guys. First question, like I always start off the show. May 6th, 2011. Where were you?
Bro, I can't remember that shit.
Okay. Matt?
A long time ago, bro. Like,
Yeah, I didn't see this one in theaters when it came out, so I don't know.
I saw all of these in theaters pretty much, except for like maybe some of the last ones of the installment when I felt like the MCU started kind of going downhill. So I'm not as excited about like jumping into them. But back then I would go. Now I don't know if I saw this the first day, first weekend, but I definitely saw it pretty quick.
All right, that's perfect. All right, let's get some factoids before we get into the discussion. It was screenplay by Ashley Edward Miller, Zach Stentz, and Don Payne. Story by J. Michael Skurznik and Mark Protosevich. I was directed by Kenneth Branagh. We all know about Kenneth Branagh. I'm actually a big fan of Kenneth Branagh. You know, the murder mystery movies he has. You know, Murder on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile. His autobiographical film Belfast is pretty good as well. So shout out to Kenneth Branagh. He's directed some Shakespeare adaptations as well. So I'm a big fan of Kenneth Branagh. Top billings. Chris Hemsworth as Thor, his first time ever in the MCU. Like we said, Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, also first time in the MCU. Same thing with one of the greatest anti-hero complicated characters in the MCU history, Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Fun fact, Tom Hiddleston auditioned for Thor, which is kind of funny knowing what Thor is now, that would be kind of hilarious. As Tom Hiddleston as Thor, I'm not
Well,
gonna
he
lie
ain't
to you.
got the body for that. What was he thinking?
I don't know, man. I don't know what he was thinking, but he wanted to be Thor. And Kenneth Branagh said, "You know what? I want you in my movie. I have another character for you. I think you'd be a great Loki." And you know what? Shout out to Kenneth Branagh and the casting director for doing that. The budget in 2011 it was 150 million, but now it would cost 212.9 million. The 2011 original released the opening weekend. It made 65.7, adjusted for now 93.3. Total domestic 181 back in 2011. Nowadays it would be 257 million. Gross domestic ranking for the MCU. It is 30th out of 36 at time of recording, and worldwide it made $449 million, $0.3 million. Adjusted, it is $637.9 million
The
in the
crazy
bank.
the crazy thing is that some of these movies may have been like borderline, maybe made just a little bit of money and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
like you go back and look at that first weekend, $65 million, that would beat some of these newer MCU's first
Yeah,
weekends.
it was a good opening. I think it's a good opening regardless. But let's get right into it, guys. We rewatched it. Big question of the day is, Justin, do you still like it, or did you ever like it?
No, I still like it. I've always liked the first Thor. We already did the first three films, and the first two I pretty much enjoyed across the board. Had a good time with them. Then I think it fell off on the third one, the Iron Man 2, as we were talking about that a few days ago.
You're a big fan of
Thor,
Incredible Hulk.
Thor, yeah, I like Incredible Hulk.
Hmm.
I liked it. I thought it was like a pretty good little story or stuff like that. I thought Edward Norton's probably even a better actor and a better played Incredible Hulk. To be honest
Yes,
with you,
yes.
than we ended up getting with old Ruffalo. But with that being said, I think this movie goes back to being on the good side. Like there's some things like I was just, didn't love about it, but I still thought it was like better. It was a good story told from like a father, son, and brother kind of just mixture there with the different things. You got the one brother who jealous, everything else, and you got like Thor being the cocky one. Then you got the dad trying to like keep everything together. I think
Mhm.
that's a cool little family dynamic to have when it comes down to it, and they kind of told that part of the story pretty well, I thought. And then you had like the magical stuff of it being Thor and everything else, which was like fine. There was a couple of times I told Matt this last night that like uh, when I saw it, I don't know if it was just Disney Plus or what, but there was a couple of things with like CGI that I thought looked pretty cheesy. A lot of the CGI was okay. Like I'm not shitting on all the CGI in the movie. I just thought there was a couple of points, like when he gets down to Earth and he becomes Thor again, when the hammer comes to him and stuff, and like the lights around him and stuff, kind of looked kind of stupid. It
And then when
didn't
he
look
like
good.
got his armor back, and
Yeah, that part
yeah.
of it, like when they show him after that, like kind of looked kind of weird, like didn't look very good. But most of the CGI in the movie was good. It was fine.
All right, Matt. Question to you, my man. Like, did you like it? Do you still like it? Did you ever like it?
Yeah, no, I like this movie. I never knew. I was always a DC guy, so I knew of Thor, but I never knew of Loki or Heimdall or his friends and all that. They were all new characters to me that were cool. And it was cool to see like a new world too, Asgard and shit. Um, but yeah, I had after rewatching, there was a couple things that came up with me. I'll talk about them in a little bit, but I was just like, why would he do that?
Mhm. Or well, Matt, we're roll it right into that. What are those moments?
All right. Like, why would he fall in love with the first woman he meets on Earth? I don't understand. Like, he just fell in love with Jane Foster for like no reason. She hit him with a car twice. Like, and the whole
Yeah,
movie is about how much he liked her, and I just didn't see where that would spring from. Like,
nah, I totally agree. That weakest part of the movie is the so-called love story. She's looking down on him, when he's kind of knocked out, and then the one girl makes a joke about like, "Hey, if he needs CPR, I know how to do it." Because obviously, as Chris Hemsworth, he's supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
gory. And I guess he's a
It's
good
love at
looking
first
dude
sight,
for the
guys.
ladies.
It's love
But
at
no,
first sight.
yeah, but they didn't even portray that very well. She
nah.
had that look when she was looking down at him, and I was like, all right, cool. But then everything after that was just kind of like not very good, not very well
Mhm.
done.
I
Like
think
the
she.
action to
Yeah.
me the action to me, and like I said, that family dynamic between Thor, Loki, and his dad, Odin, was
Mm-hmm.
all done well, but the relationship between them two sucked.
I no, I think she was like, oh, this dude. I think she fell in love with him when they were sitting outside looking at the stars, and he was describing all the realms. I think that was the moment. That was him flirting, and well, not overtly flirting, but she kind of fell in love with his magical science brain. I
Well,
mean,
I can
I think
get
that's
why
what
they
happened.
can fall in love, but there's a difference between me
Well, no, I don't
getting
fall in
it.
love. No, they liked each other. It's not like they were in love. Love. They liked each other, and then and
Bro,
then
he's
precipitated.
sacrificing himself and he's come back for her kind of shit. Come
Yeah,
on, man.
even
Well,
Loki
he's
was like, if you destroy the
They're
trees,
not
you'll
trying to
never
be
see
best
her
friends over
again.
here. You
I
know what
didn't
I'm
say they were
saying?
trying to be best friends. I think it was the beginning of a burgeoning relationship, and he was trying to show that he was a worthy member of
He
the
was
millionaire.
trying to
He was going to sacrifice himself for everybody,
he was
not just
trying to
her.
get he was trying to get that Beducci, man. We all know what was happening. You know what I'm saying?
He also, the Lady Sif and the Warriors 3 were also there. He told them to stop fighting and get behind him. He was also going to sacrifice for his friends and, Dr. Selvig, Darcy, the whole
Yeah.
town.
My thing is like I can get it as someone watching the story, like what's supposed to be happening.
Mm-hmm.
But like watching it and the actor and actress making me believe it is a different story.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with Matt. It was like the weakest part of the movie. They just didn't do very well with that. But like I said, I still
Most people
enjoyed the
agree with
movie
you. I'm not going
overall.
to lie. Most people agree with you.
I'm gonna give it a decent rating at the end when we talk about that. Because that was like just one aspect of the movie. I thought they hit most of the other parts of the movie pretty well.
All right, all right. Let's get right. Well, we talked about the faults. Let's talk about our favorite moments. Matt, what was your favorite moment of the movie?
Um, Probably like when they took over the ice planet and they were fighting all the ice giants and
Oh
shit.
yeah, the Frost Giants at the
That
beginning.
was
Yes,
cool.
at Jotunheim.
And I liked when Loki backstabbed the Ice King's attempt to kill Odin. I
Mm-hmm.
like that part too because I didn't see that coming, to be honest. Like, you think he's helping him to kill him and shit.
Yeah. What twist? Two twists by Loki. You know what I mean? Two twists. He twisted you
Yep.
in thinking he was gonna backstab him. Then he twists again and prevents the backstabbing for either to make himself look good or you know I don't know what he's a trickster. Loki.
Yep.
He's the goddess, the god of mischief. Makes sense.
Nah, I think
Yeah.
he knew his ass was caught. Like I don't think like he had already been, because he was using that thing. I think it was called like the Devastator or whatever. Because he was already using that against Thor, and he saw Thor become Thor again and beat his ass like in that robot
Mm,
form. When he was kind of controlling it, like
yes.
he realized his ass was done. So his only choice at that moment to even try to survive was to backstab the people that he was trying to get in there to do the thing. I don't think if Thor ever became Thor again and he didn't realize that threat, I don't think he stops him from killing his dad.
But does he? So he lets him kill his dad, but you don't think he kills Laufey, the frost giant, or
He
could he
might would
use?
try to betray him later on just because of what kind of character he is. He's like the
Mhm.
god of lies and stuff like that, pretty much. But like, in like actual, what is it?
Mischief?
No, I was trying to say the under the what is I'm having a brain fart right now. The actual religion that has
They're
Thor and all
Norse
this stuff,
gods. They're
Norse
Norse
gods.
gods.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, I think he would probably go against him even afterwards, but I think his whole game plan changed when he knew Thor was coming back. Like
Could be.
I think he knew that his ass was about to get got, and the only way he's going to survive is if he like killed that guy before he killed Odin. Because you notice like the first thing he said as soon as Thor or anybody shows up, or even his mom,
I did it
was
for you,
basically like,
father.
yeah, like he's proclaiming, "Oh, I saved you." Like he's not saying, "Oh, I'm sorry because I brought these guys in here to have you
Mhm.
killed." He's literally only saying like, I saved you." But I think that was because he knew Thor's ass was coming back.
Well, how'd you like the Loki? And let's talk about villain breakdown because he's the villain of the movie, really. Loki. This is our initial introduction to him. He's a major part throughout the entire MCU. Him and the Tesseract. He's the villain in the Avengers. When we talk about that, spoiler, I guess. But we get more of him towards the end of under phase 3 and 4, and some of the other stuff that's going on. Your first initial impressions of Loki, Justin, and then your initial, and then your impressions on him on the rewatch. When you first watched Thor, when you saw Loki, what were you thinking?
I thought the character was done decently well. I don't uh like as much what they do after this movie and stuff. Where like, bro, the guy's evil. Come on, man. Stop trying to make people that are bad like not be bad or whatever. Try to make them look good or
Mm-hmm.
sympathetic or whatever. In some cases, like you can do that, but you got to kind of space that out. You can't make every bad guy that you have kind of a bland because you're in the gray area because of this, and this. Man, some people just damn evil,
Mm-hmm.
and like, but particularly in this movie, not looking further ahead or anything like that. Just looking at this movie, I thought it was done well. But I necessarily wouldn't have called him like. I mean, he's obviously part of the villain, but I would say the ice giant, Lofi or whatever his name was, is
Laufey.
Laufey was kind of the evil villain here, and I thought that guy was actually kind of interesting and cool. Like I
Yeah, he
almost
was. He
thought,
was pretty cool. I like Laufey.
I almost wish they would have had like a little bit more of a backstory about like how he came about or something, like even if it was like a little 5-minute flashback scene of like how he
How did he
became
become
like in
king of
charge.
Jotunheim?
Yeah, exactly that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been cool, but I found him interesting and like he almost pulled off the upset.
Yeah, well, yeah, they gave us the initial flashback of the war with Laufey, with Odin, but they didn't tell us how Laufey got to her. That's a good point. I quite enjoy Laufey. Just Matt, what about you, man? Loki, your initial reaction about him when you first watch, and then your reaction post rewatch.
I'd say both times I was just like, oh, this dude's a backstabber and shit. Like, he's always up to no good. You can't trust him and shit. But it was pretty interesting seeing that he was actually a frost giant baby.
Mm-hmm.
That Odin actually saved. So that was cool to see that part. Um, but no, he's a good villain. I like Tom Hiddleston as Loki. He's pretty good.
Yeah, man, I quite enjoy him as well. Um, Also, I thoroughly love this. I love this movie. I really love Thor. I really like it. Hey, Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Yo, man. Let's talk about the cast. Like the cast that you're like you at the moment. Nick, no offense to Darcy. She's played by Kat Dennings. She wasn't. I don't think she was Kat Dennings yet. I don't think she was on Two Broke Girls, which made her famous. I don't know. I think she was. Matt, was she? I don't know. It was Kat Dennings. Stellan Skarsgård, you got Natalie Portman, you got Princess, Padme Amidala, and then you got, the two stars of the movie, Tom Hiddleston and Chris Evans are the unknown people in this movie, and then their mother, Matt, I forgot was played by Renee Russo.
Renee, yep.
I forgot it was Renee Russo, and then I quickly forgot that Anthony Hopkins is Odinson, or Odin's son technically. Which I was like, because he walks in with a power of gravitas of a god, because it's Anthony Hopkins, man. He's tremendous. I quite enjoy. And then Heimdall, Idris Elba.
Yep.
I completely forgot, and I quite enjoy him in this performance. So I like Thor. I'm a big fan of Thor. I think Thor is done very well. I think so too.
We had actually two Star Wars appearance people in here because the scientist that's helping Jane the whole time.
Yeah, Stellan Skarsgård.
He plays on Andor.
Yeah, he's Luthen Rail and Andor. Stellan Skarsgård, the patriarch of the Skarsgård family, father of Alex, Bill, and who's the third one?
Don't know.
Damn it, yeah, I forgot the other one. I know Bill is the clown. There's Alex. And then, Alex is Tarzan, and then Gustav Skarsgård. Shout out to the Skarsgårds, shout out to them. So I quite enjoy him in this performance. He's good too. But anything else, man? Themes of the show, of the movie, Justin. What else did you like about it? What are you thinking going through your mind on the rewatch?
Like, well, you skipped me on like favorite moment of the film.
Oh yes, favorite moment. My apologies.
But my favorite moment is like whenever he gets to the hammer, right? He's like headstrong to go to the hammer. He gets there and he tries to pick it up and he can't. and then that realization of like everything was actually taken from him because he was being stupid. Because of his actions, he lost everything, which is like a cool thing to do for like a superhero because you can relate to that, right? Like, because you may make a decision that takes everything away that you had or whatever, and that kind of thing. And that's where Thor kind of like realized that and all that, which has got to be like super crazy because you're like basically a god at So yeah, that was my favorite moment. I kind of like the way they did that.
I want to throw something out here. I want to add something when we do this. Who do y'all think was the MVP of this movie? Who do you think stood out?
Well, I think it's Helmsworth because like I think he's pretty much the perfect casting for Thor.
Mhm.
Like not saying that any of the other ones wasn't good because I do like Loki. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, Jane Foster, Natalie Portman. It seems like when she's not in a movie that's based on superheroes or Star Wars, she can give some like great ass performances.
Black
And then
Swan.
yeah, stuff like that. But then when she's in a movie like this, it's like, oh, I know it's goofy, so whatever. Like I know this is like cinema garbage. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these high class actors and actresses will act towards like these films and stuff, and try to cut them down by saying they're not cinema and everything else. Like it almost feels like she's like, oh, I'm getting paid, so I'll do it, but I don't really care. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like I said, she's part of the reason
Yeah,
why.
yeah, it could
She's
be.
part
Yeah.
of the reason why I didn't feel the love interest. Like part of the reason why I didn't really believe that. Like I said, I'm not saying
I think
she's
she's a big
crappy or bad.
cardboard. No, just a big cardboard.
A little bit. Like
Yeah.
I just don't think she does her best performances like in any of the movies that are big IPs.
So you don't like her as Princess?
Like
Padme
when
Amidala?
if she was like maybe the leader, like the number one person, like because not super long ago she was in that like sci-fi thing. I think it was like Netflix or whatever. Wasn't like a great movie overall, but it really wasn't her fault. But she was like a big actress or in that movie, and she was like one, if not the main character, one of the main characters. Like you can
Annihilation.
see, it may have been that, it may have been called that, but like I felt like she gave a super like try hard performance in that. Whereas when I take her into these like being Thor's girlfriend or being Padme, you know what I'm saying? I was kind of like, yeah, it's like kind of cardboard
Or
in certain
Jackie.
spots. No, I think it was Annihilation.
Oh yeah, that's the Alex Garland film after
Mhm.
he did Ex Machina. Yeah. Cool. That's good. What about you, man? Who do you think was the MVP? You agree with it was Chris Hemsworth? He was perfect.
I think, yeah, I just think he's like the perfect cast. I think one of the things
Well, I
the
said
MCU
Matt.
did.
Justin, what do you
Oh,
think?
I'm sorry, but I was going to add real quick before Matt goes. I think the very first Avengers, the casting they did for everyone, that casting director is a legend.
Yeah, I think
Like,
she was the main casting director for the first couple of movies.
but Thor being cast, who we got for Iron Man, Captain America, who we're probably going to see. Ain't that the next movie? I think is Captain America.
Yes.
The casting for like even the first casting for like Incredible Hulk, Ed Norton, I think was like great, but whatever happened, right? So like can't really fault people for that. But yeah, these major characters that they picked, like even like Hawkeye and what's her name, Black Widow. Every one of those first cast members to me were like.
So her name is Sarah Finn. She did Thor. Let me see if she did the other movies. Trying to see. She did Avengers Endgame, so it makes sense for that one. Let me just do casting director.
Whoever was in charge of picking these people, it probably wasn't technically a casting director.
It was her plus Kevin Feige. Like, of course,
going together.
Kevin's definitely gonna be like, well, you're not just gonna pick this by yourself. Yeah,
I mean, especially Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. Who in the hell would you pick?
Yeah, because Iron Man, Jon Favreau's the reason. Because no one wanted him, except Jon Favreau. He said, "I want him," and they're like, "Okay, fine, you can have him." And yeah, apparently she was the casting director for Iron Man. Sarah Halley Finn. Let me check again. Iron Man 2, Sarah Halley Finn. Thor, Sarah Halley Finn. Captain America, Sarah Halley. Yeah, she's been Marvel's go-to. The Avengers, Sarah Halley Finn, the legend it is. There she is. She's the one
Right.
who did
So
it.
if she did play like a decent amount of picking these people, like she had a home run. Because like I said, when you look at the main starting force of the Avengers, I
Mhm.
don't know who you would have picked better at, especially the top three: Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man. Like
Yeah,
you can't. I don't even think you could pick somebody else like and say, oh, I think they would have did better. No.
that's a grand slam, grand slam, grand slam. You know, she did also Dark World and Winter Soldier movies that we'll talk about a bit later. So shout out to you, Sarah. You are an icon. Matt, your MVP. Hit me.
I'm gonna say the MVP really was Heimdall, because they couldn't have done everything that they did without his help.
It's true.
Yeah, you're going through it by character, like as far as like importance to the movie kind of thing.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
was also like, what character did you like the most, and what do you think? What actor probably played most? It could still be Heimdall. You could. Idris Elba had a great performance.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I like Heimdall a lot.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I guess I'd have to give it to Hemsworth. He carried the movie. Um,
yeah.
but no, I'd say probably that my favorite character was Odin.
Ah, Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
probably Anthony Hopkins.
yeah. Shout out to him. Shout out to him.
I wonder if he eats liver with fava beans and a nice Chianti there and
Liver,
Odin.
liver's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if he eats that there at you know
Yeah, I've had
Thorland,
it. It's pretty good, man.
Asgard.
Yeah. I should have had some fava beans with my liver, but I
Do
can't eat
you
a nice. I can't drink a nice Chianti. I don't drink.
do you
Probably a
smack your
nice.
lips like he did?
No, I don't. I don't. I don't do that. No, 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 no. I don't do that. No, I do. I do. That's what I do. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's what you do.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
you.
You know what I mean? That's what I do. But I don't think we've really talked about Thor. It's a very straightforward movie. It was an origin film. Shout out to Kenneth Branagh. Introduces Chris Hemsworth, Loki, and Tom Hiddleston. Let's get right into the end credit scene, guys. And what did you think? What was going on? The end credit scene is Dr. Selvig. He's sequestered into a dark hallway, probably a basement. We see Nick Fury again, and he pulls out the Tesseract, the famous Tesseract that we'll see in Avengers. But Dr. Selvig isn't alone, guys, is he? Matt, what's wrong with Dr. Selvig?
Yeah, you see, in like the reflection, you see Loki says something, and then he says the same shit.
Loki's
So
not
he's like
dead.
controlling him.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the only reason why I give this end credit scene any kind of props because it did further along. Say, oh, Loki ain't dead, which I mean, everybody probably much knew he wasn't dead. He's fucking God. They don't die that easy. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So like,
you're right, Justin, but he did like fall into like space.
yeah, but he's a
So
God. God doesn't die that way. You know what I'm saying? Gods
yeah,
are
that's a good
very
point.
hard to kill. Like so, but I will give them props that at least it showed that, and you're like, okay, Loki's still alive. He's still like out there kicking or whatever, trying to
Mhm.
do his thing. But besides that, it was kind of like lackluster. Who cares about a stupid like glowing cube?
Mhm.
This ain't Transformers. You know what I'm saying? We
Well,
ain't out
that
there trying
glowing
to get.
cube, it changed everything, though, Justin. We'll find out. But let's get right into it, guys. Let's get down to our final ratings, our star ratings. Like we said last week on our Iron Man 2 review, we're gonna list these films on Letterbox with our star ratings, individual star ratings, and the combined star ratings. Let's start with you, Matt. Where do you put this on a scale of 1 to 5?
I'd give it like 4 out of 5.
Okay.
It's pretty good,
Yeah, yeah. 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
especially
Justin, what
for
about?
having an unknown.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you, Matt. You know what? I agree. Actually, I agree with you. The 4 out of 5. I agree.
I,
I'm with you on that one. What about you, Justin?
I'm
Agree?
going a
Disagree?
little bit lower, man. I'm going at a 3.5. Get
Three and
a
a half.
low B here.
All right.
You're still on the honor roll. Still on the honor roll.
B's don't get
Here.
you on the honor roll.
Yeah, they do. It's AB honor roll. It's literally what it's called.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn! Your school had low standards.
No, like all A's was like something else, but AB honor roll is what like it's always been called.
Honor roll is like you got like a 3.8 GPA or like a four. Almost a
You do
4.0.
realize that if you get like all A's and one B, like you're probably a 3.8.
Yeah, but if you get all B's, you're not on the honor roll.
I didn't say all B's. I said you're still on the honor roll kind of grade curve
That's a
there
good point.
with a
Yeah, that's a
B.
valid point. Yeah, that's right. You're a valid point.
God damn.
Hey, man, just trying to see here.
Boy, somebody dumb as hell, bro.
All right, Justin, let's calm it down here. All right, let's
All
calm
right.
it down.
Well, with that being said, like I enjoyed the movie, 3.5, lower B score. Still enjoyed it. I do see some of the things, and like I said, I think some of the later films is almost unfair because I think if they would have been earlier on in the series, I think I would have liked them more, just like I like some of these more.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm judging them after seeing all the movies, and now these movies. So far, 3 out of 4 of them I enjoyed. One of them was kind of on that lower tier end. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still kind of enjoyed it, but like you could tell to me it wasn't all that good. Uh, Even in this movie, saw some of the flaws that I see today, but like it's so profound today because of the fact, or so pronounced today, because you have so many of those movies, and you say, "Bro, when are they going to stop this shit?"
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, just some of the jokes. But I'll give this one props. A lot of the jokes here were kind of circumstantial. They made sense for the thing. Like, when he gets through drinking the first drink and he slams the thing because he wants to go.
Another.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's something that you
That
can
was
see
one of
in
my. That was
Asgard,
actually my favorite
right?
moment.
So to me, those are like intelligent joke moments that you can have, right? And everything else. And they don't count as like goofiness because like
Mm-hmm.
they actually make sense kind of situation. But it's like whenever you're in serious moments, man, let's take those moments seriously. Let's give these things heart. I'm going to be honest with you. One of the best MCU movies ain't even an MCU movie. It is and if you haven't watched it out there, it's under like, oh my God, it's so underrated. So what was it last year or the year before? The newest D&D movie,
Yeah,
Honor Among
yeah,
Thieves.
yeah, yeah.
That
Dungeons and
movie
Dragons, yeah.
right there has got the same elements as like say an Avengers movie or whatever from like the MCU because you got the team up stuff going on with a couple of different cast and crew and characters. They had the comedy, but they also had the heart. They
Mm-hmm.
spent time and told a story that has some heart and has some soul in it. The very end of the movie, you're starting to shed a tear because they took the time to let like the serious stuff happen. They still had those jokes, they still had those funny moments,
Mm-hmm.
but when things were serious, it wasn't like a joke to pull you out of it right away. And that's the kind of things like I see it even in a couple of these earlier movies. But like I said, not as bad on Thor. It passes. I like it.
All right, thank you guys. But also, more big thanks to you guys for watching. Thank you so much. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe. We appreciate you guys' support. Hope you have a wonderful Saturday. Go out there, go outside, let the sun, hit your face, or if you're somewhere cold, I'm so sorry.
Let you go
But
ahead and know.
yeah,
Is it Captain America next?
it is. Yeah, I believe it is.
The
Let me
first
double check.
Avenger?
I believe it is Captain
There we
America
go, right
next.
here, boys. I'm going to give you a spoiler warning. Probably my favorite out of these first 5 is probably going to be Watch. That's coming up
You
next
know
time.
what? I remember the discourse around Captain America: The First Avenger, and how people kept saying like, yeah, it wasn't, it wasn't very good, or like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't know what y'all talk about. I don't know what movie y'all watched. But Captain America: First Avenger is great.
No, and like I said, some of these MCU movies
That was
had something
spoiler,
good
by the
in
way,
it.
for our next show.
Yeah,
Ferris
but not
Stefano loves
some.
Captain America: The First Avenger.
Yeah, no, I mean I was saying the same thing, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying like the thing about like I said, even in this movie in Thor, they had a grounded moment, family thing, family dynamic, 2 brothers and a dad. Because the mom really didn't play too much of a role in this movie in the story, but like those 3, the
Shout out to the movie show.
interactions, the jealousy, all this stuff, like it was a really cool grounded story in there. In some of the goofiness, in some of the superhero things, which makes it a better movie, right? Whereas, and Captain America brings some of that same thing. A guy that's willing to die, he's patriotic, he's willing to die for his country. You know what I'm saying? Like all this stuff. He's super brave, but his body just is weak and everything else. And then he's able to get, whatever to become whatever he becomes and do whatever he does from that point on. But it's like a grounded thing, like the underdog story. Like those stories, if you put like those real, true to life stories involved in some of these things, you can make a really good film and a big thing for people to be excited for. And I've always loved Captain America the
I
first.
really love Captain America too. Yeah. That's what broke my heart in Civil War when he became a piece of shit. What's good? What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Milano. Welcome to another great edition of the Rewatchers Council. Today we are doing our Marvel Cinematic Universe version of our show. Today we are talking about the introduction to Captain America, the First Avenger. But before we talk about that, I'm not alone. I'm never alone. Today I got my main man with me, Matt. Matt, how are you, bro?
Good, Ferris. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Unfortunately, Justin can't join us for this one, Shout out to Justin. But it's gonna be me and you. Let's do this. Right off the bat, man. Like I always like to ask, where were you on July 22nd, 2011?
I don't know, but I definitely wasn't in theaters watching this one. I don't think
Oh,
I'm pretty sure I never saw this in theaters.
yeah, yeah. I saw it on TV as well. I never really saw it in theaters. I agree with you. So I don't know where I was on July 22nd, 2011. I think it was the year I went to sixth grade. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember.
Uh,
Yeah, I think so. But it is what it is. But let's get right into the nitty gritty, Matt. Like we right off the bat. Do you still like this movie, or did you ever like this movie?
yeah, actually, I think the first couple times I saw this movie, I thought it was boring. Like I didn't care for it,
Mm-hmm.
but I've grown to appreciate it more and more. I like it. It's a good movie. Um, I never knew much about the Captain America character, so it was
Mm-hmm.
cool seeing his origin and shit like that. And I like Chris Evans as Cap. He's a good fit.
I agree with you, man. I'm with you on that one. I've actually always liked this movie. I remember a couple of years ago, or during the build of the MCU, people kept talking about how like the first Captain America sucks, and I'm like, excuse me, what? I don't understand that. I think the first three films of Captain America have been at least been good to great, with number two being great. But I've always loved this movie. I love Chris Evans as him. Big fan of everyone in this movie. Let's get some facts about this movie, Matt.
Hmm.
Like we said, it was released on July 22nd, 2011. The director was Joe Johnston. A lot of people know him as the director of The Rocketeer and other films. Writers are Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. Top stars are Chris Evans, his first MCU appearance, Haley Atwell, her first MCU appearance, as well as Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, his first MCU appearance, and Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter. I also want to add in Hugo Weaving as Red Skull, the villain of the movie.
Hmm.
That was his first appearance as well. Some money facts: the budget was 140 million. Adjusted for inflation, now is 198.8 million dollars for inflation. Opening weekend, it made 65 million dollars. Adjusted for inflation, that's 92.4. Total domestic 176.6. That's 250.8 nowadays. At time of recording, domestic gross ranking, it is 32 out of 36 at the time of recording. Worldwide, we have 370.6, which makes it at 526.2 million adjusted for inflation. So, Matt, let's talk about the movie, man, right off the bat. What was your favorite movie moment of the film, and more?
Um, I think it was the transformation scene and then the chase after. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably my favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the rest of the movie, the action seemed like what's it called? I forgot the word, but it wasn't like long action scenes. Like it was little cut scenes in between a bunch of cats. So yeah, I think
Montage. It
that's
was
probably
not. It
my
was
favorite.
montages.
Montage. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I want. Um. So yeah, that's probably my favorite part.
Yeah, I like that scene too. My favorite scenes really are kind of like the moments with Dr. Abraham Eskin, played by Stanley Tucci.
Mm-hmm.
He really knocked it out of the park. When I was watching this movie, man, I just kept saying to myself like, "Hey, I recognize that guy. I know this person. I know this person." I forgot Stanley Tucci was Abraham Eskin for a minute, and then the more you go into the movie, you see there's Toby Jones, there's Zola, Natalie Dormer's in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. So is Dominic Cooper. Well, I know about Dominic Cooper because of Howard Stark, but yeah, like, and then his crew. I recognize three members of his crew: Derek Luke, Neil McDonough, and the homie who plays Howard Hahn on 911. So it's pretty cool
Yeah.
as well. But yeah, man, it shows the emotion of the film, right? Because I keep talking to Adelia about this, about Steve. Steve, like there has been, like, Dr. Eskin probably wrote down the formula, and what's great about it is and but it doesn't work. The super soldier formula isn't working for anybody else. Either they go
Yeah.
crazy or they die during testing. Something happens to them. What makes Steve Rogers the one? Steve and Bucky really. Well, Steve mostly. We'll talk about Bucky later. Steve, what makes Steve work? What makes him work? And what makes his villain Red Skull work? Because I believe Steve is a pure good. Within his heart, he is pure goodness. That's what makes what happened a little bit later on in another film, um, kind of, gives a little grade to him. But he's pure goodness within his heart. He wants to do the right thing. He wants to fight for his country. Like that scene where Heskin, one of my favorite scenes, Eskin is where he says, "Do you want to kill some Nazis?" And then, instead of him saying like, "Yeah, I want to kill some Nazis. I want to shoot it up, bang bang," he says, "I actually don't want to kill anybody.
Yeah.
I want to fight back. I don't like bullies. I want to fight back on the bullies." And that's when Eskin realizes he's the one. He's the one. No matter what we do, he's the one because something within him is gonna be accentuated with the super soldier serum. Same with Hugo Weaving's character, Red Skull. He is pure villainy, just black heart evil. And the serum, because he was Eskin's first test subject, just enhanced his evilness and
Yeah.
his path for destruction. Do you agree? What do you think about that, Matt?
Yeah. I think it's probably kind of like gamma radiation, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like it just brings out the character in the person.
Yeah, yeah, like Abomination and the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like polar opposites of theirs. But speaking of Hugo Weaving, let's break it down, right? The villain breakdown. Red Skull. Uh, what were your thoughts on him? Is he a top tier villain? Did you feel his motivations? Did you like him? Where are we going with it?
Yeah, I really like Hugo Weaving as Red Skull. I mean the because this one could have easily gone like I don't know off the wall, like just the way he looks and shit. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? It could, but it looked good. Um, and his attitude during the film and everything was cool. But what I tripped out on was the part where he touches the Tesseract and then he disappears, and I'm like, dude, we don't ever see this guy again till like Infinity War.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
You know?
He gets zapped into the ether,
Yeah,
into another world. I think story has it Hugo Weaving didn't want Red Skull again because he hated the prosthetic and the makeup. He didn't like. It just annoyed him, and he was like, I don't want to do that no more. That's annoying. But I'm with you, man. I really liked it. I think people talk about Marvel having villain problem. That happens later on. Early on, they have really good standard villain. They have really good villains.
yeah,
Obadiah Stane in Iron Man 1, Red Skull, Loki in Thor. You can say that in Incredible Hulk with Abomination and Justin Hammer and Whiplash in Iron Man 2. But overall, they've done really good with their villains. The villain problem hasn't started the alleged villain problem that people talk about. Or am I not really thinking about it correctly, Matt?
no, I think you're right. The villains were stronger in the beginning for sure.
What do you think of the secondary villain of Dr. Zola, Toby Jones?
Yeah, I like him a lot too. He was the brains behind the operation.
Hmm.
And then we end up seeing him in next in Winter Soldier.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, he was a cool character. I liked him a lot. And
Yeah.
he wasn't an evil guy like Red Skull. He was just an inventor, that wanted to keep making more and more things and shit, not necessarily weapons.
Yep, yep, yep. Well, another big part of Captain America, Matt, is his relationship with Peggy Carter. Let's talk about that one. I think they did it pretty well. Their interactions, you can feel the chemistry. Unlike what last time we talked about, Jane and Thor. Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman. I think Haley
Yeah.
Atwell and Chris Evans really, really, really nurtured and created a great chemistry between them two. Am I not seeing that correctly? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
Yeah, no, these two fit together way better than Jane and Thor.
Mm-hmm.
They both had a similar, mission in life to rid the world of evil and all that. And she was impressed because she knew Steve before he was Captain America, and he had the
Mhm.
same attitude. So she knows that she likes him for him. It's not just because he's buff, like whatever.
Mhm. Any other moments in this movie, man, that you would like to discuss where you would like, oh, I really like this. I want to talk about this.
Um, Probably like the side characters, like his friends, that help. I forget the name of the Howling Commandos.
Yeah.
I like those guys a lot. It was
Hmm.
cool to see, and it was cool to see his relationship with Bucky. That Bucky was the one that was always looking out for him. Since they were kids and shit.
Yeah. Big fans of Neil McDonough, Derek Luke, those crew. The French dude, I don't know the guy's name. Ace, or no, not. He's not Ace. He was calling somebody Ace. But let's talk about that scene, man. Thank you for bringing up Bucky on the train, the death. I want your when you first watched it. What was going through your mind when you saw him plummet to his death?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had no idea about Captain America, so I definitely didn't know anything about Bucky.
Hmm.
So I just thought he was dead. You know what I mean? Like, how's he going to survive that and everything?
So were you sad? Did you care? What were your feelings?
Yeah, I mean, I felt bad because he lost his best friend. You know what I mean? And like in a pretty
Hmm.
tragic way. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't like crying or anything, but
Hmm.
it sucked to see him lose a friend.
Yeah. Would you have signed up to the army if Captain America was singing and dancing for you, telling
No,
you to buy some bonds? No,
hell no.
no. Okay, that's pretty funny. Yeah, but I want really the themes, right? Of good and evil, and Steve, fighting and keeping the preservation. Um, I'm a big fan of this character. I really didn't know much about Captain America like you, Matt. I'm really happy that we got more. Where at the end of the day, it was really just I just want to help. Just want to help my country and fight back and make sure the use of the World War II. Could they have done a more modern take on it, Matt? Or did they have to go stick it in World War II?
Yeah, no, I think they had to keep it in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it was a bigger war and like more technology things happened because of it and stuff like that. So I could see it more happening there than like Korea or Vietnam or
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Got you. So when Steve gets frozen, we're towards the end of the movie, um, frozen for 70 years.
Yeah,
When he wakes up, what I liked about that scene, Matt, is when he's listening to the game and he's like, "Where am I?" She's like,
yeah,
"You're in New York." What do you mean? Where he's like, "I know that game. That's May 1941. I was at that game. Where am I?" And then he like just throws him through the makeshift room and just chases him down. Um, that was a pretty cool scene. What's your opinion on that scene, Matt?
yeah. That was a trip. To see him wake up and she was dressed like old school
Yeah.
nurse, like not nurse but military style. So yeah, like you think he's just waking up in the hospital or something, but then when he busts out on the street and you see Times Square, modern day, and then
Mhm.
Fury comes out, you know what I mean? You're like, oh shit, he
Yeah.
made it.
Do you think? Did you like that he agreed to become a patsy initially for Senator Brandt to sell bonds and bullets, and he wanted to help, and seeing the evolution of him saying, you know what, I'm no longer being a patsy when he was being laughed at in the field, and in the trigger the Max's point of him saying, you know what, I actually gotta be Captain America and I gotta help. Did you like the evolution of that and how we went from you're singing and dancing, punching fake Hitler to actually like saving people with the Howling Commandos?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like that because it would have been a waste to have him have that super serum in
Mm-hmm.
him just to be singing and dancing. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
he had to prove himself somehow.
absolutely, absolutely. Did you think the tone was good? What there were some comedy elements, but it was more of a serious film. It wasn't a lot of comedy in this. You know, his misunderstanding of fondue, uh,
Hmm.
you know, that was pretty funny. But overall, it was a very serious tone because we're at war, right?
Yeah,
Does this?
yeah.
What's up?
No, no. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like because Justin talks about the tonal issues of some of these Marvel films. I don't think this one has a tonal issue.
Yeah, no, I don't either. It was well directed, well acted. Um, yeah, they cracked a few jokes, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. They
Mm-hmm.
kept it pretty grounded to the
Yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah. But overall, man, let's. I think we've kind of touched on everything, really. Just like why, like Matt, like we talked about the super serial experiment. Pretty much, the reason they like, I think about this earlier, and I want to get your. I forgot to ask you for your opinion is, or the reason it works is because of Steve's innate good heart. Unlike the ones we're gonna see in the future, where all the badness, and I'm really loving this character. I really love this character. Kind of heartbreaking what happens a little bit later on in the MCU. We'll talk about that later. One of the biggest debates out of the MCU. We'll talk about that. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's go to the end credit scene. Um, Steve Rogers is punching. He's in a boxing gym. He breaks the bag. Not cool, by the way, Steve. Not cool. But Nick Fury, the leader of Shield, comes and sees it. It's not really an end credit scene. It's a promo. It's the
Yeah.
promo for our next film, The Avengers. So it's a promo for that one. I want to get your thoughts on it. I'm pretty sure you probably don't have that many thoughts on it because it's literally a promo. But what were your thoughts on the end credit scene for Captain America: The First Avenger?
Yeah, it was. There wasn't much there, but it was cool to see Fury. He's gonna have Captain America lead the team and shit like that in the next movie. So
Hmm.
something to look forward to.
Anything to dislike about this film? Anything they could have improved?
Mm, no, it was a pretty well executed movie in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. Well, now we get to the best part of the video, Matt. Our rankings, or our rating out of 5 stars. Where do you think it lands on, Matt?
I'd give this one a 4 out of 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
It's a solid movie.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you. 4 out of 5 for this. It's a tremendous origin film. I think it's probably top 5 origin films in all of the MCU. I think there's a couple of other good ones. There's a we'll talk about them a little bit later. But I'm a big fan of Iron Man. I like that origin film. And like, there's a couple more origin films in Phase 2 that I really loved more. But this one I think, is pretty good. I think it's top 5. Well, I think we've gotten to it, Matt. We've talked about everything pretty much under the sun for this movie. Shout out to Captain America: The First Avenger. Shout out to Joe Johnson and Chris Evans.
What is going on, everybody? We are here to keep going on the series of rewatching the MCU, the movies, and we are now at the very first Avengers. We'll be talking about that tonight with Adelia, with Matt. How are you guys doing? And we'll start with you, Adelia. What did you just overall thoughts about the film?
I love this movie. I think it's one of the better MCU movies, especially from the early Phase One. I think this is the best movie out of Phase One. Um, there's not a lot that I dislike about this movie. There's one thing in particular that I absolutely hate, though, and I will discuss that when we get to it. But it's I like this movie a lot.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I've always thought this was one of the best MCU movies for sure. I always like this one. Um, it's just a good time, and like it's cool because they blended all the tones of all the other characters really well in it. Everything fit well. Yeah, I like this one a lot.
I also like the film. I think most people do like this film. Now, I wouldn't say it's my favorite out of this block all the way up to Avengers. I actually think uh, Captain America, the first Avenger, to me was like a better story, like overall. This right here was a like big, huge, just like, I mean, let's be honest, like huge set piece, right? You had the big battle in the middle, the big battle at the end kind of situation going on, all kinds of crazy stuff happening and everything else. There's really not a lot of room for a lot of story in this. You like, but all these characters pretty much, except for the Hulk, because they did change actors when they got to this film. So like Edward Norton had played like Hulk in the actual movie, and then you had a different actor, so it felt a little different. But like all the other characters were like set up in movies leading into this. So I think that like helped this movie out a lot because like you didn't have to explain a whole lot because most people had watched the films, or at least before they went and watched this film, a lot of people may have went back even if they didn't see it in theaters, watched the first films like Iron Man and Thor and Captain America and stuff like that to see how these characters were. And then you also got things like Hawkeye and Black Widow involved in those films, told a little bit of their background as well. So you just had all that thing. You didn't have to have like this cohesive story where all the characters got a big, huge like plot line in this film. So I think it actually helped it out.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's not a lot of instances in cinema history where you have these like crossover events. The way Avengers was the first crossover event, really, of the MCU, and I think that they couldn't have done much better with it. They did a really good job of establishing the characters in the movies prior to this, and then bringing them all together, and like Matt said, not losing the characterizations and the tones of those characters.
Yeah. So yeah, my point would be, I think to me, Captain America: The First Avenger was like the best movie of this whole block.
Yeah, yeah,
I like the story and everything, whereas this movie's the oh shit, crap's about to hit the fan. This is gonna be like fun and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna eat my popcorn. Like that kind of enjoyment, I could see where people may even like it better because you do get a lot of entertainment in this film. It's all just a bunch of action, almost nonstop, and all that stuff. Um, so yeah, I can see where people like enjoy the film, and it's obviously a film you can just turn on in the background and pay attention to the big moments kind of situation. Like you don't have to be intrigued by every detail of the story and how it progresses. It's just like, oh,
yeah,
cool moment, cool moment, cool moment.
yeah. I wasn't able to be on the Captain America one because I was on vacation, but I think that that's probably the best made film of Phase One. This is just Avengers is the one I enjoy the most.
But so the problem a lot of times with movies like this Avengers, where you have so many like people involved, so many characters, is the fact of not having a story. This film, like I was kind of saying earlier, didn't really have to like rely on that, like being able to tell all these stories in like one film, just because all their stories were already told. So like that gave them the leeway of coming out and having like this great uh, time where they don't have to actually focus on a lot of story. There was story there, but it didn't have to be the focus of the film.
It didn't have to be everyone's backstories and then them
Yeah.
coming together. Yeah.
Right. So I think, what happened with say like the Justice League,
Mm-hmm.
like you could feel like how bad that was because they didn't have setup. They didn't have anything set up for like the actual Justice League for a couple of members. You had a little bit with Batman, a little bit with Superman, before the Justice League movie, but you didn't have set up for all the rest of the people. So it was just like these different characters kind of thrown in together. And I think they had a big problem because of that. It's like a movie that I don't thoroughly hate or anything, but there's a movie from back in the day, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen,
Mm-hmm.
where you had a bunch of these characters that were doing things, and it was like, okay, what the hell's going on with this person, this person, and this person? But you tried to do all that setup and all that stuff in one film,
Yeah.
and that's really tough to do. So, like I said, I think this film, like if this would have been the first MCU film, I just don't think it would be loved as much as if
No.
it. But where it lays after they did a setup, and all that, and a few films to set it up. I think it was like a perfect kind of like, just set up and go into the film and be able to have fun. But Matt, I mean, you agree with that, or
Yeah, this was definitely a good way to expand the universe. You know what I mean? To show that there's threats bigger than what we thought of on Earth and shit, and that the crew was able to handle it. You know, together. Um, this was also the first MCU movie where I really liked the score, like the whole way through
Mhm.
the movie. The rest of them were like kind of cheesy or something, but this one was really good.
yeah, I don't really have like if you're a person that went into this film and you're trying to break it down for Oscar nominees or something like that, you would probably find issues with it. Or even if you was a person, like I said, that was going to judge this film just basically on its own, and you could probably kind of pick apart some of the story and stuff like that if that's what you were doing. But the only true flaw, because we did have the setup films before this, the only true thing that I saw, like, and I wasn't even thinking about it when I first started watching the film again, but when I did the rewatch, was you could start seeing the things that I'm not liking as we keep going further and further and further into the MCU. It's like this film, you had Colston, the whole fake death situation. It's
Well,
like
I
because
mean,
he's
like,
not
let's be clear. Coulson is dead in the movies. He never appears in another MCU movie again, except for Captain Marvel, which is set in the past.
right,
So yeah, they put him on TV, but like as far as the MCU in the films is concerned, Coulson's dead. Tony never finds out that he lived after that. Natasha, Steve, none of them. So
nah. I mean, I get what you're saying, but like,
that
let's be
one's
honest,
different to me than the other ones. Coulson's.
right? No, hey, like I will. Yeah, I agree with it. It's a little different, but it's like as fans, whenever you're watching stuff, you can't just be like, oh well, like we brought him back, but we didn't bring him back in this particular form. We brought him back because fans watched the decent amount of fans like watched that show
I
that
know.
came on and did like a decent amount of seasons. So
And
that
they
that
and they very clearly did explain in that show that he did die and they brought him back to life.
right,
It's not like a we think he's dead, but he's not actually dead. No, he died and they brought him back to life.
right, and but that has I was going to say something, but it has really nothing to do with this like particular film. But besides
Well,
that, no, I don't
what
have a
was
lot of stuff
shady
to talk about.
though, what
Yeah,
was
go ahead.
shady though was that Samuel L. Jackson put blood on Colson's cards
Yeah, that was shady.
to make him think that it was in his pocket when he got killed. You
Mhm.
know,
I mean,
that
let's
was kind of
be
shady.
honest. I mean, that's kind of true to the character from the comics, if I'm not mistaken. Like, Fury's always kind of been this shady individual.
Yeah.
He's always like gets the Avengers together and whatnot, but he's always doing stuff like kind of
And
crappy. Yeah,
to be fair, right before Coulson does die, he does say they needed the push, basically. Fury just
Yeah,
decided to use the cards to make that point.
right.
It's not cool. It's not cool. Don't get me wrong, but
I
yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Even back when I first saw these films and stuff like that, I'm not saying like Coulson was like a crap character or anything.
No,
Coulson just
Coulson's
didn't
awesome.
really, yeah, but Coulson didn't really mean all that much to me. Like I thought the guy playing him did good in the parts that he was in,
Yeah,
but
Clark
I
Gregg
never,
was great.
yeah, but I never was like truly invested in the character. So when he
I don't
died, I
think
just
you were
thought,
supposed to be invested in the
yeah,
character though.
yeah. But my point was like, it was like, and plus he didn't interact that much with everybody. Like he had like a little bit of something like in the film, so I get what they were trying to set up. But like when he dies, and then you kind of like look into that and expect me to believe that all the members of the Avengers is going to come together for old Phil.
But that's not why they did it. The one person who needed that push was Tony, and he got it, and he was the one who interacted with him the most.
I mean, I don't know. He said like the push for the Avengers, but I mean, I get what you're saying. Maybe like because Iron Man was jumping more on the team. Maybe it brought everybody together at that point. But at the same time, that's kind of weird to say when it should probably be Captain America that gets him because he's technically the leader.
It's the conversation between Tony and Cap that makes them figure out where Loki is, and that conversation would not have happened if it wasn't for Coulson's death.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that to a certain point. I mean, I
Because
think.
Tony's the one that figures out that Loki made it personal. But it doesn't say that it's personal to everyone. It was personal to Tony that Coulson died. And why was it personal to Tony? Because Pepper liked him. Pepper liked him enough to know his first name when Tony just thought it was Agent.
Right. No, I
So,
can see that part. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely Iron Man would be the one that I would be like, yeah, jumping on board because of that and everything else. It was just kind of the others, but I was looking at it a little bit differently. Yeah. I don't see any flaws in the logic of what you're saying. It
Mhm.
was just when I watched, I was like, bro, this Coulson guy dying ain't bringing everybody together. But I get what your point is. Is like it brings Iron Man more involved, which may then bring everybody else more involved, like in other ways. Because, which I don't
Yeah.
know, like the world ending is going to bring them together anyway. To me,
Well, yeah, but like at that point in time, they don't know where Loki is going. They don't know where the Tesseract could possibly be, and it isn't until um, Cap has the conversation with Tony about losing. Is this the first time you've lost a soldier? And Tony goes, "We are not soldiers," and realizes that Loki made it personal. That he starts talking about how Loki's a diva. He wants all the attention on him, and that brings him to the conclusion that he's at Stark Tower. Then
yeah.
everybody gets back on board because they know they have to get this done.
All good. I mean, does anybody else like? I was just saying that like seeing him die and then know he came back in the show just reminds me of some of the things I start like not liking as much as we get further and further on. But anybody else? But that was like my only real like flaw. There's like a couple of moments that are kind of goofy or whatever that may or may not be super great. So I'm not saying the film's perfect. It's not. It's far from it. But it is like a really fun film to watch. That was like my real only critique though, that I would be like, but really and truthfully, when I saw the movie the first time, I wasn't thinking about that. When I first saw this, like the first time I watched it, I was like, oh shit, they're at least taking out somebody that's kind of like credible. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be there's real things that happen because of this, right? Like there are going to be some people that's heads getting knocked off so that they can do what they have to do. There's going to be some sacrifices being made and everything else. But then, like when I watch it now, knowing what happens in the future, I'm just like, oh man, this is like the very beginnings of a crack in the foundation that might show up. But no, but did y'all have anything that like y'all would consider like bad or like a flaw with the film, even though obviously we all liked it?
I mean, I do. I absolutely cannot stand what the director of this film, who we refer to on the other editions of the Rewatchers Council just as the creator of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, because we don't want to say his name because he's a piece of shit, had Loki call Black Widow. A lot of people just think that the Mewling Quim comment is a funny haha thing, but that's a Victorian insult, which is the equivalent to the C word, and it is extremely demeaning to say that to a woman. And I don't like that part. I hate that part. I hate that it gets laughs. I hate that they had Tom Hiddleston dress up as Loki and go to Comic Con the next year and call the audience Mewling Quims. I hate everything about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I'm gonna be honest with you, I just thought it was just some random like.
It's not. It's Victorian, it's slang, so, like, from the Victorian era in the UK, but that's what got it past the censors in this country deciding what the rating should be, because, what I was reading about it said that Joss Whedon, the guy who directed this film and wrote it, was surprised that, the censors didn't say anything about it. And it's because no one in this country really knew what it meant. But you got to believe that people went and looked that up after that movie came out, and it
I
is
did.
awful.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought it was just some kind of like where I figured that like maybe it was some. Obviously, it was going to be something derogatory because I mean he's
Mm-hmm.
the bad guy. But when it comes to me and bad guy in films and bad guy saying like a certain thing, like it's what I think all gloves should be off at that point. They're the bad guy. There's a whole point,
Yeah.
but saying something like that to me,
Saying
uh,
something like that to one of two female characters in this entire movie, the one who's supposedly the superhero, I have a real problem with.
I mean, I don't know if I have a problem with it because they like she does a pretty decent amount in the film. Like she's a pretty big role. Like she's like a standout. So like to me it would make sense that like your bad character would be like trying to go after or even say something to try to like when did it because I don't even when's the exact moment like he actually says that to
It's
her?
when Natasha goes and approaches him while he's in the cell on the helicarrier and says, "What did you do to Barton?" And he, she says, "I have read my ledger. I want to wipe it out." And he says, General Dreykov's daughter, which is reference to what eventually became the Black Widow movie, a couple other things, and he calls her a mewling quim in that scene.
Yeah, but see,
And she acts affected by it. Like, I will give Natasha the character credit. She acts affected by it. She probably knows what that means. But that gets Loki to say that they are the ones that brought the monster on board after she calls him a monster. And she turns around and she's dead serious again. And she's like, "So, Banner, that's your play. Thank you." And walks away.
yeah, but I mean, so like to me, I look at the character at that moment because that's where I thought it was, but I wanted to make sure because, like I said, I don't get the reference. I didn't get it either time I watched it, so this is a piece of like information that I have learned tonight. But like to me, in that particular scene, and I just wanted to make sure before I had said anything, is like his whole point was to get her off balance.
Right.
And then like even
I
right
like,
after being called that, like it wasn't like she got called that and fell to the ground and became weak or something because of it. She
of
gets
course
called
not.
that and then like turns around right after that and like shows her strength of like, oh, I fooled you this whole time. Ha ha ha. Now we know what you're after, like situation. So she like caught him in a trap or whatnot, like right after the whole thing's going on. And then to me, the bad guy saying that is like I said, trying to say something to get her to like lose her cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like if that word is like you said, like as bad as what you're saying it is, it makes sense for the bad character to say it because if he said something weaker, that would make the character of like Black Widow like weaker at that point because like oh you can say something not even that offensive and like she's gonna fall apart possibly. But in
Yeah.
this case, he says something like really bad, like one of the worst things you would possibly want to call a woman, and yet she still stands firm, still does that thing, and then like pulls the trick on him. So to me,
Yeah.
that's not a bad spot for that to be in the film.
Like, I think that this could have just been accomplished without him calling her that. I like everything else about this scene. I don't like those two words being used in conjunction with one another with the modern equivalent meaning of that phrase from Victorian times being the C word.
No, I mean I kind of get what you're saying, but at the same time, if I'm the one writing the story or if I'm putting together the story, screenplay, whatnot, I'm thinking, okay, this guy's supposed to be the bad one. He's the evil one. He's gonna try to get her. He's gonna try to mess her up or whatever. He's a bad guy. What can be the nastiest thing he would say that we can put in here that would I would literally be thinking what's the nastiest thing he could say like that could possibly get her off balance or like make her character like maybe lose it or for a second or something like that that would make sense for the bad guy to say. So that's why I'm saying I don't necessarily think it's like uh, the most horrible thing just because of the fact of if I was making the film, that's what I would have did. Now, maybe if I was making the film and somebody was like, well, you don't need to say a word like that, then to me as a filmmaker, I'm like, well, if I got to be so careful around this particular person and character, well, then we're not just going to use her. We're just going to use some guys that I can just say whatever I want or have the bad guy say the worst thing ever and nobody's really going to say a whole lot.
I get what you're saying, but I'm coming at this from a different perspective, probably because I am a woman. And if someone said that to me, I'd deck them. I'm not a violent person or a confrontational person of any kind. Someone calls me a mewling quim, I'm decking them.
Yeah, and you'd be like, but there's a huge difference though. We're talking about a film that's fictional, and like the characters doing things that you want them to do, and like walking around real life and getting called something like that from a random person. You damn right you should deck them.
Yeah. So
So that would be my argument.
that's
With
just the one thing that I absolutely hate in this movie.
yeah, I think most people's like me though. They don't even know really what it means. I just think he's saying something stupid ass guardian phrase or something. Just to be honest with you, Matt. I mean, Matt, did you even realize what that was?
No, Delia told me about it. I mean, it's pretty bad.
No, I mean I
I
agree,
would.
like it's bad, but we're talking about a bad character, and it's like I said, she didn't get like run over from that. Like it would be a little different if the scene was he says that and she like uh so weak that she kind of falls like and somebody has to step in and save her. I would be like, okay, that's kind of bad. But
No,
because of the fact,
the writing of Natasha in that scene is great
right,
because they don't have her do that. But just the
right.
mere fact that that's where their mind goes is, oh, we should have him call her this, is something I have a problem with the director and writer of this movie with, not necessarily the movie itself.
Now, and I forgot like it was made by Home Dude because I know like he had issues or whatever. But like I said, as an outside perspective, it wouldn't be if I was right if I was part of the scene, like writing it or putting it together, it wouldn't be that I would be looking for that particular word or a way to say that particular word when I walk into it. But I would
It
be walking into it of like I want to have my evil character say some evil shit right here.
I think the reason why they went with the Victorian phrase like that is because it sounds very much in line with the way that Loki and Thor talk.
Yep, and
That
it's
like
sneaky.
Shakespearean kind of thing. It's sneaky, it gets it past the censors, like I said.
Hmm.
Like I understand to that regard why they said it. I just wish it wasn't in a Marvel movie where now everybody goes around, not everybody, but lots of people go around spouting that phrase off, not knowing what they're actually saying, or
Right.
knowing what they're actually saying and saying it anyways.
Well, I mean, people say that word anyways,
Yeah,
the actual
I
phrase
know. It's
word.
like a term of endearment in the UK, but not here.
No, not the way they said it. I'm saying people say the that particular word every
Yeah,
day on the street, like in real life, like not even trying to hide it with the phrase that you're
yeah.
talking about.
Well,
But
that's what I'm saying. Like in the UK, the C word is a term of endearment. And like, not to everybody, but to a lot of people, that's what friends call each other. And then here, it's the one of the worst things you could possibly say to a woman. That's my understanding of it, anyways.
no, yeah, and like I said, I totally get you. We're talking about fiction though. Like in real life, people going around throwing that word at like women just to be assholes or whatever. They're assholes, right? That is
Mm-hmm.
the way it is, whatever. But like for a film where you have bad people in it, you sometimes, like I said, my thought process would be creatively, I need to have him say some fucked up shit to try to mess her up. So what are we gonna say? And then I'd probably have a couple of people saying like, well, let's do this, do that, do this. And I'm like, well, I'd probably turn around and look at a woman that's on the team and go, what's the worst thing somebody could call you right now? And they probably said, one of them would probably say, they probably agree with you, right? That right, one of the worst things you could say about a woman now would be that C word. And we'd be like, man, I don't know if I could say that. And then, like I said, they actually do have British people like involved. If I'm not mistaken, Loki is actually like, isn't
Yeah,
he like British or
Tom
something? Yeah.
Hiddleston's British, yeah.
So he might have even brought up like I could see this actually playing out for real. I might just be like, seeing the past, I guess, not the future, but like Tom Hiddleston might have been like, well, you can't say that word because we say, like you just said, it's like a term of endearment in the Britain, like we say this instead of that. And then I could have seen that happen. Like I ain't saying that did, but I could
Yeah.
see that happening. And what I'm saying is if I'm the one that would have did it, I might would have been like, okay, cool. So we kind of skirt around. He gets to say something really bad to one of our main characters that a lot of people like. So it's going to hit real hard. Hell yeah, let's do it. But that doesn't make me like a bad person uh, because we whittle it down to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think not everybody that would have came up with that would be like bad people because they ended up using that phrase. Now, the problem here is like you said, the director of this film had problems in the past. So like that makes it compounds it kind of thing. But if
Mm-hmm.
this would have been like another director, I don't think you could ever say that he's a bad person for ending up for using that phrase because, like I said, I would have been like, okay, my bad person said something bad. I mean, that's how come we know they're bad. Part of the reason, anyway.
Okay, we've spent too much
Yeah.
time on this. Let's move on.
Hey, be honest with you, I mean, no, I like the discussion because it's something that probably a lot of people don't even bring up very much and everything else. Everybody knows all the other obvious stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
actually glad you brought it up.
Yeah, I get what
But
Delia's saying though. In a PG-13 Disney movie, like you don't need to hear that kind of insult.
I mean, to be fair to them, this wasn't a Disney movie at the time, but this was the last
Oh
movie
yeah,
that was distributed by Paramount. But yeah, I don't think it needed to be in this movie. Just the same with a joke that he wrote into Age of Ultron that I was telling Matt about earlier that we'll get to when we get to Age of Ultron. Didn't need to be in there either.
all right, Matt. I mean, did you have anything to add? Like that was kind of like a flaw or
um,
something?
just like when I was watching it, I told Adelia I was like, I don't think Hawkeye and Black Widow should be on the Avengers. To be honest, like, yeah, they're like elite, soldiers and spies and shit. But like when it comes down to it, and shit's going super crazy, like, they can get hurt
Yeah.
easily as
I
fuck. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, and this ain't either Black Widow or Hawkeye as far as like I think they do pretty good the in their acting and what they're doing, but I do agree that like when you're fighting against something that the Avengers have to fight against and
yeah,
they're standing right there next to them, that's whenever I get thrown out. Them being like Black Widow, for instance, going and doing undercover stuff to find out information that the team needs so that the Avengers can go and attack, or Hawkeye being there for like a supporting role where they got him basically in a sniper position, like taking things out from afar. He's not right there in the action. And they actually do that a little bit in this movie, which I thought was
Hmm.
kind of cool on his part. But yeah, I gotta admit, there's times where like Black Widow and Hawkeye both like are in the middle of the action, standing right next to the Avengers, and I'm like, bro, this ain't happening. I did think that it wasn't like so bad that it completely threw me out of the movie, but yeah, it's like you look at these two regular humans; they don't have any true special powers except for being peak humans that like learn how to do certain things and maybe got a couple of tools to help them out. But it's like, bruh, they're probably not gonna be able to withstand
just
things
one
that.
explosion by them or some shit, and
Yeah,
shrapnel or
exactly.
something. You know what I mean? Like anything can
Yeah,
fucking
I
kill them.
totally agree. I
Yeah.
totally agree with that.
I will
They were
say
doing some shit across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I do like that they do sort of address that though in the Hawkeye series where Hawkeye is basically deaf and has to have hearing aids to hear people because of all the explosions and stuff that he's been around. But I kind of agree. Like the original
Well,
lineup
he
of the
even
Avengers in
said,
the Go ahead, Matt.
"Go ahead, sorry. No, you go ahead."
I was gonna say the original lineup of the Avengers in the comics is Ant Man, Hank Pym Ant Man, and Janet Van Dyne the Wasp. So they wanted to cast those two characters as older and have the younger Ant Man because by this point in time, Phase 2 was well into development. So I think they just decided to put Black Widow and Hawkeye on the Avengers and go with it. And it doesn't necessarily always work. But it is kind of
Yeah,
funny that the two of them are there with one with a bow and arrow and the other with just a gun fighting alongside the rest of the
yeah. That's
Avengers.
what I was gonna
Yeah.
say. Even in Age of Ultron, Hawkeye says, "I'm just a guy, the bow and arrow."
None of this
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Right. So yeah, that would be my like that is also I do agree with that flaw because like I said, I did think about it enough. But like I said, it wasn't enough to like ruin the film or anything like that. But there was moments where I was like, bro, get the hell out of here. And then there was moments like I said, especially with Hawkeye, because he was set up on a perch, like being away from a lot of it, and he was shooting things from a distance or whatnot. That like I was like, that's cool that they did that. They kind of got him out of danger a little bit or as much of a danger. And I'm fine with that kind of stuff. Like I said, I'm cool with like Black Widow doing undercover thing, getting herself in some danger and finding out, like for instance, finding out where Loki could have been in this movie, if the story was told a little differently or she was doing some other stuff. But yeah, when she's standing next to like the Hulk or Thor or even Hawkeye doing the same thing, it's like, bro, what the fuck y'all doing, man?
or when Captain America launches her up and she grabs onto that Chitauri bike and
Yeah,
shit. Like,
yeah, yeah. It's like, bro, you're human. Like, I don't know. You would have tore. Listen, bro. Something happened to me yesterday where I got like rained on for a long time with a flat tire, so I had to be physical. Then I had to go to work and finish up work, being soaking wet. Guess what? That was a bad day, right? But that's not end of the world bad day. And you know what? I had to walk around today with soreness because of the fact that I had to walk around yesterday being wet, like in certain areas. It is very uncomfortable. It's because I'm human. I am weak, right? No matter how strong I seem to be, There are certain things that can make us weak. And then when you're human like that and you're thinking about the characters also being human, you're like, man, she would have tore like a fucking quadricep or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like something.
Yeah.
She would have had like some muscle or ligament
You
or
see how many
shoulder
aliens
get
came out
hurt.
of that shit? Like they would
Yeah,
have
yeah.
been fighting nonstop for like a half hour. Like
Oh
in
no,
that.
yeah, exactly. Like, and you can agree that the god Thor's a god. Iron Man's wearing a suit that's assisting him the whole time. The Hulk turns into like the big green monster that just gets madder and madder and madder and madder and madder until like he can't get madder anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
when you're around there, and then Captain America, he's got the super serum, like obviously that makes him like a superhero. And then you have those two, and it's like, bro, they would be tired in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And because of the scene and how big it is and everything, it's like you're imagining to yourself, oh, this has been like 30, 40 minutes to an hour of just shit out craziness, and you're still able to even move as a human being is ridiculous. Like, to be honest, when you really look at it. So I guess that would be a flaw as well, and I totally agree with it.
Yeah.
But we'll go through, talk about like maybe our favorite moment in the film real quick. I mean, obviously, the reason why I was asking the question about like that for like negative things in the film is because obviously from the very beginning we talked about how much we already love the film. So it's like not fun just talking about, oh yeah, of course we like everything everybody else has always said. So it's kind of cool to dive into the negativity of something that everybody
Well,
actually
real quick
likes.
too, while we were watching it, I told you I was like, why would the council send a nuclear missile to hit Manhattan when the hole is in the sky that they're all coming
Mhm.
from? Like, what is a bomb hitting the ground gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would fuck some things up, obviously, and then I guess
Obviously.
I mean, maybe the things from the sky would be looked down and go, "Oh shit, there's a nuke. Let's stop until all the nuclear fallout's done," or something. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
That was
So,
kind of stupid
yep.
too.
I
But this is
I
the point. I've said this many a times here recently. Here's the point. There's a couple of stupid ass things,
Mhm.
but you're willing to mentally just ignore them or choose to forget them because the rest of the film is done very good and it's very fun.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Mhm.
If it wasn't as fun and wasn't as great and like the big set pieces they used, like the battle on the ship and then the battle in Manhattan, if all those things didn't look really super cool and it was so fun and entertaining and all that, you would just be like, oh, this movie's garbage, right? And then you would add those things to the list of things you didn't like. But because the movie's
Yeah.
so damn fun and everything to watch and entertaining to watch, like, yeah, whatever. You just let it go.
Also,
You don't
Julia
care.
brought it up that it's funny that all the Chitauri just died because that nuclear bomb went off in space.
Yeah.
You know.
You blow up the control ship and all of them die instantly.
Yeah, I never looked into Qatari, so if they're like a hive mind and you hit the thing that controls the
Yeah.
hive mind,
Yeah.
then that would make sense, right?
That
But I
would
don't
make
know.
sense, but I don't know if the Chitauri are like that
Bro,
or
we
not.
talking about like, listen, man, you know where I came up with that? Because Star Wars and the battle droids, baby. They hit the one ship up there at the top, boom, knocked them out, and everybody. It didn't even cross my mind until y'all just said it. That yeah, that only way that makes sense is hive mind capabilities, and when the hive gets like the mind gets taken out, like all of them kind of lose control and just like cease to exist kind of situation. But I ain't never looked into that alien race, so I don't know how they actually work. It might be dumb as hell, right? Like somebody can look
I
that
don't
up.
I don't know how the Chitauri work in the comics, if
If,
they're even from the comics or something. I don't
if
know.
somebody watches this and knows about the Chitauri, put that comment down there as if this makes sense or not for them to just start passing out because like their home planet or wherever it was got blown up by a nuke. But with that being said, like yeah, let's go around say like our favorite moment, and we'll get out of here. We've already been talking about the movie for about 35 minutes. Adelia, what's if not your favorite, one of your favorite moments?
I really like. I think that there are some movies in the MCU that they do way too many jokes and way too many quips, but I really liked most of the quips in this movie. I thought that the 12% joke between Tony and Pepper was really funny, where Tony said Pepper deserves 12% of the credit for Stark Tower, and there's an argument for 15%, and then he realizes he's going to pay for that joke later on, and he says, after Coulson shows up, he says, I thought we were having a moment, and Pepper throws back in his face, I was having 12% of a moment. I thought that was really funny. Lots of stuff in this movie is really funny to me. My favorite scene, though, is probably when they're all in on the helicarrier, and Tony and Bruce are trying to figure out what phase 2 is, and Cap's arguing with them about, like, focus and find the tesseract and stuff like that, because he's very much in soldier mode. But he, after listening to them for a few minutes, goes and does something that you would think would be very uncap like from looking at the um, previous movie, the first Avenger, and breaks into that room, and the computer is going too slow for me. Here's what phase 2 is and its weapons. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's an interesting character development for Cap that I didn't really expect in this movie, and it didn't really occur to me that that was a massive character development for Cap until I watched Winter Soldier, because he does more stuff like that there.
Gotcha, Matt.
This movie has a lot of cool moments and shit. But my favorite overall is when Hulk just ragdolls Loki
That's
and just
great.
like bam, 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 bam. That's what it would be like, man. If that dude's really that strong, he'd just ragdoll people.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
was
and
funny
that's
to
the
see
funny
that.
part is like you're doing it to a god because like anybody else would be just tore up and dead. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why I like in some ways Hulk can be kind of overpowered, and but to me it's like you can have fun with that and even have things. I think from here forward they start like kind of just cheapening the Hulk, and they're doing it on purpose to make it to where this ain't an automatic win because in some cases with the Hulk being involved and it being as strong as the Hulk can be, like some of those things he'd be overpowered for or whatever as far as just brute strength. So I get why they tried to like do it, but it was like, man, I wanted to see the Hulk, right? I wanted to see the daggum Hulk, and every time he turned around, it was like, oh, Hulk can't be there for some reason, or he's not turning into the Hulk no more. That stuff got old as we go later on, but it was fun in this movie to see the Hulk actually be unleashed. So I agree, that was a really cool moment. My favorite moment of the film is actually going to be super underrated by some. I really loved it. Scarlett Johansson done awesome was whenever she's like, caught towards the beginning of the movie when she was about to go get
Oh,
Hulk.
that's a
She gets
great
told to go get
scene.
Hulk, where she's like I guess it's with a couple of Russians or something like that, and she's like tied to the chair. I just thought it was a really cool moment because like it's kind of funny with the phone thing that happens whenever she gets called, and then she basically rats out herself, and that dude's like, "What?" And he turns around, and looks at her, and then she's able to fight her way out of it. But I just think it's super awesome because it's like uh, one of those really good like somebody kind of understanding some things and like really to me writing a strong female in a good in that particular moment because like uh, her like using her intelligence and wildness, and let's be honest right here with Scarlett Johansson playing the character as Black Widow, uh, just ravishing good looks, right? To be able to
Mhm.
get what she needs and learn everything and putting herself in this like position and then being able to surprise them is like super awesome, and it's really fun when it's done right.
Yeah.
So
She was great in that scene. It's the last time I think we get to see her as a spy, because now she's a public facing member of the
and
Avengers.
did they show any like older scenes with her? I can't remember that much with Black Widow the movie.
I don't think so, because that's set so far in the future compared to where they
Well,
are
but I know they
here.
go back in the past and they show like how
They
she was
show
kind
like
of
they
created, and
show like a flashback to um, Budapest and Dreykov's daughter, but you don't really see her do that much in the way
okay.
that you see her do it in this scene.
Well, all right, guys, we got to give our ratings that we're going to be putting on Letterbox as a community kind of deal. We've been doing it on the last few that we've done here, so we will go around here at the very end and give out our Letterbox. I think it's 1 through 5, so that's the way
Hmm.
we have to be scaling it. Adelia, what was your final score of the Avengers?
Um, I would give the Avengers a 4.
Okay, giving it a 4. Matt Munoz.
I'd give this movie a 4.5. I thought it was really good.
4.5. You
Mhm.
literally every time I kept trying to get away from negativity, you kept bringing up a negative thing in a movie I wasn't even thinking about. My score probably got lowered because of you, and you're gonna say all that and give it a 4.5.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just because honestly, this is one of those ones that I've rewatched more than any of the other ones for sure.
Okay. I'm gonna. Man, it's harder with the like the rating when you're used to kind of rating a certain thing. So like one of the things I've been doing because I think it's just easier for me to be able to break down and be able to say is like give. So I'm gonna give my letter grade, but then give my number grade. So my letter grade, which is the easier one to do, is like a B plus on this film. I do think that like it gets help because of all the story and backgrounds. Like if you watch this movie on its own, I think some people could even give it a lower grade than what I just gave it. But it's a B plus because I love it and it's super fun. But it is missing a couple of things. But like I said, if you watch the movies before this, you don't need those other things that a normal movie would need, right, to be super great. So it's still ranked pretty high, B plus, and I would give it what would it be? I don't really want to give it like a 4, so I guess I'm gonna have to go 3.5. Go 3.5 stars on it, and I don't think you can do on Letterboxd like 3.7 or anything. I think you got to go
Mm-mm.
like half
It's
numbers.
half.
So I'm because I'd be like if I was doing 1 through 5 and I could just give it any kind of thing, I would almost give it a 4. It's like way up there. So I'm just gonna round down though. I'm just gonna say 3.5. One of y'all guys said 4.5. One of y'all said 4. Maybe we can text Ferris and see what he thought about the
We'll get
movie and this.
Ferris' score for sure. Yeah.
Yep, and put it on the thing. With that being said, man, guys, we are getting out of here right now. Please like, subscribe, do all those things. Got a banner floating at the bottom that tells you things that you can go do. We got new merch, new designs on the merch, thanks to Adelia. They look pretty good. We also have the Patreon and the Ko-Fi or whatever if you want to join those, and then you can join our Discord for free. Come in and join in these conversations, or maybe even watch some of these movies with us. Or if you get on certain tiers, you can come on here like Matty Matt does and join us when we talk about these certain things. Don't be afraid. You ain't got to get on camera and stuff with the Patreons or the Ko-Fi members. However it is that you want to come on here, if you can come on here, that is perfectly fine and dandy with any of those things. And thank you guys. Please leave a comment. Tell us what you thought about the movie. And if I skipped anything, Adelia.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, let's get the hell out of here. Until next time. Peace out, man. Bro, every time I say that, I hesitate because I'm like fitting to try to hit the right thing at the right time. And then I always look at the wrong screen or wrong side. So here we go, guys. Until next time, peace.